Okay,
try that.
being chair of vice, maybe I can go ahead and let's go ahead and start the meeting then. And we'll hand it to Keith if he shows up.
That works.
Okay.
Second.
Thanks, Chad. Okay, we're opening the meeting. It's I got 6:05. Keith McLean address is invalid. What does that mean? Does someone want to send Keith another link? It says he's saying I'm trying to join, but it's saying Safari cannot open page. Address is invalid. So is there a problem with Safari opening these things?
I've never tried it on Safari. I can try it real quick. I mean, does he have Zoom loaded on his device?
I don't know.
That could be the problem.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, is he may not have the program to run it.
You can download it from the link though, can't you?
Yeah, my iPad will open it with no problem with Zoom.
Okay, so we have 59 Windward Drive here. Her name is Joanne.
He's downloading the app, so maybe we'll get him shortly. We can wait a couple minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless we want to go ahead and approve the July 15th meeting agenda. Anybody disagree with anything there?
We are going to be adding as new business a vote on Andy Glover, his application for the ACC.
Okay.
And I would like to ask if the tree requests, items 5 and 6 can be struck from the agenda because we already did those on June 17th.
Yep, no
You've already-
problem.
They're already taking the trees down, so I hope so.
Sorry, we had a bit of an issue in the office where we did not have toner for about a week and a half. It was a wild time, a crazy time, and I'm glad it's over now. So I'm sorry if I was overly diligent.
So the toner quit too?
The human that orders the toner.
Seems to be a bit of a turnover going on.
Yes.
Well, it must be an interesting experience not having a general manager.
Yes.
So polite with calling it interesting.
Yes.
Isn't that the curse you give someone? May you live in interesting times, isn't?
Well, someone cursed me then.
Shoot.
It'd be kind of nice if the members of Sun Valley knew what was going on.
I wish I could talk more
I know
freely.
you can't. I know you can't, but
Okay. So, meeting agenda. So we're adding adding a new person to
Adding
vote
a
on.
vote. His name is Andy Glover and his address is 120 Harborview Drive. I believe his application was emailed out to you guys by BOD McLean.
Mm-hmm. And how does it work? In the past, we always needed 2 people to vote and someone always had to lose.
I don't.
What is
Yeah.
Do we have to do that, or can we just approve someone that's applying? Does anybody know?
I wish I had an answer for that. I do not. I can try to get a hold of Deanna quickly. She may have an answer for us.
I don't recall
Okay.
the resume.
There was a little email application thing sent, right?
Mhm. Yeah, he's the one that doesn't actually
Here's
live
Keith.
here. Keith's on.
Ah,
Yay.
Can you
finally.
guys see me?
Yep.
Yep. You can
Oh, you
see
can.
ya.
Great. Hey, thanks all so much for joining tonight. Hey, Bruce, can you chair the meeting tonight?
Sure. And so, okay, so we were starting with the approval of today's agenda. I believe we got down to adding the one applicant. We're trying to do a quick check to see if we can just approve an applicant, or if we have to have two to choose from like we've always done in the past. And which has never really made sense, because we always would have someone apply that knew they weren't gonna get it, just so that we could vote. So anything other than that, and striking and that, and plus we're striking the two pre-approved trees, number 5 and 6.
Yes.
Okay. So apart from that, we got approval. Do anybody want to make a motion and get a second? So Karen motioned, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, let's go to approval of June 24th meeting minutes.
Actually, I haven't seen those.
I'm so sorry. Those will be done tomorrow. I'll send them out to you guys. I apologize.
Unacceptable.
Okay, so we're deferring on that one, so you can just add it next time. And apart from that, is there anything we need to do before we jump to
We have,
59?
yes, Joanne, 59 Windward Drive, item 18. She is here with us. And then we have some builders here with us as well.
Okay.
Susie, how many builders do we have tonight?
I will let Joel answer that. From what I can see, I see at least 3. I'm assuming there's more.
Ooh. Okay, I thought only 3 at the most.
That's how many builders are here. Sometimes they have multiple people on an application
Oh.
to talk about it. So, hey, Joel, how many builders do you see here tonight?
We got Casey, John Gordon's representing Arrow, Mark, Vitali, and Will. So that's, I count 5
Wow.
that I recognize, yeah. And let's see. Connor, might be one more.
Okay, great. Do we want to go for Joanne first and then we'll do the new constructions?
Yeah, it's 59 Windward. I move to
Yes.
approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And
I thank you all so much.
nice echo. Okay, was there anything else you wanted to talk on that, or are we good?
I'm excellent. Thank you. We're so pleased to have a home in Sudden Valley and to meet all of you by this
You're welcome.
meeting. Thank you. We're thrilled.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate all of you and what you do, and look forward to meeting you in person at some point.
Okay, thank you. Have a great night, Joanne.
You too. Thanks.
Wondering if we could, I guess we can just run down through really quick. So you're saying we want to do new construction first, or try to knock off the this other list? as much
Uh,
as we can.
I think the new constructions make sense because we have all those people. I don't know.
Okay.
ending.
And that way Joel could maybe not have to spend all day listening to us all night, listening to us here. Okay, Joel, go ahead.
My bedtime's at 9 o'clock tonight. So. All right, so we do have, we can go however you want. We do have a couple builders here who are here for a construction, excuse me, construction change request. So if we want to, those I assume will go faster than a full new construction. So we'll staff checks here for one of those. If we'd like
And we
to.
have all these on our list though, right? So I can pop on it and bring it up so I can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, this would be,
Okay.
Let's see here. I can tell you the item number.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring Will in.
Sure. This is item number.
If you're looking at the chart, anything above 13, you have to add a number to it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, they're one number off.
okay. This is, it says number, oh yeah, no, number 44 is item number 38 Valley Crest Way, construction change request.
Okay.
And I apologize, I haven't looked at any of these.
That's fine. So originally, I can give a brief description. So originally, this was approved with a variance. The driveway was approaching,
16.
perpendicular from the roadway. It was steep, 16 degrees with a variance and adding steps. And the neighbor next door, just up the road from him, was built originally with a similar driveway. And then they were able to revise it because of issues and bring in the driveway at an angle up above. And I'm trying to get up my screen up here to show you. And so that's what's being proposed here, which I think will make everyone, I think will make everyone happy.
I think that's the wrong one. That's
Oh yeah, I'm getting to it here. There it is.
yeah.
Where is it here? On my drive.
Oop. You had it.
Oops. All right, so here's what's being proposed, that they move the driveway. These blue lines now are the new driveway. So it's coming in from the side up above from uphill. It's less steep. Makes sense to me. But I think, there probably will need to be some sort of retaining wall here. Maybe on this edge here up above on the upward slope. Will, would you like to comment, or you have plans to build a retaining wall on that lower side?
Well, so where my truck is sitting, it's somewhat flat coming in. And I purposely left that so big trucks can get in there. That's gonna raise, so that will lessen the slope of the berm there. And I had the county inspector out today inspecting the interior slab. And I raised this question to him, and he said that he can't make contractors put retaining walls in the right of way. And I know when Bruce was around, he didn't like retaining walls in the right of way either, just because if utility companies need to come in, it's in the way. So, but the county inspector did mention to talk to Aaron with Axe Engineering, who designed my stormwater system, to see if there's some kind of geogrid or some kind of strong fabric that you can put there just to eliminate erosion there. So I guess I'll be reaching out to Aaron to see if what he thinks about that, just to, I mean, I don't mind putting a retaining wall in there, but county can't make me put it in, and I don't, Bruce is still not around, and I don't know if there's a replacement for him to ask if that would be okay, but the berm was there. I didn't create it. I just kind of cut into it. Regardless if the driveway went straight up, there still would have been a berm. And the inspector did mention that on my property, once you get up higher, it's fine. I mean, I might need like a 1 foot or 2 foot retaining wall. And then there's those stumps there that also secure the dirt there, and it's all pretty much sandstone. It's not really coming down. So I don't know if you guys think that some kind of geogrid down on there, pinned down with landscape stakes or something like that. I still have to talk to Axe Engineering, just because I just spoke with the inspector today. But overall, I mean, the driveway is a lot better. I'm able to get trucks up there. Dump material. Before that, when I
Buddy,
had it
no, turn
straight-
the water on right now.
Before that, when I had it straight up, trucks were dumping it, and half the pit run was landing on the road, and it was just becoming a mess. So I kind of had to turn it temporarily, just to get trucks up in there. And plus, once I relocated the driveway, just as temporary, I realized that it's a better idea. So I figured I'd propose it, and I think it would be better for everybody, the person that buys the home next. Because the main concern about the house to the left, their driveway was just as steep, and they're afraid when they're coming up into the garage that they could hit their kids or something in the garage just because it's out of your sight. So, and that's what they did. So
I think the driveway, as being proposed here, is a great idea. Is a better solution than it was before. We just want to make sure that slope is.
Yeah, how steep is that slope? We have specifications to cover that.
Mhm. And I think
Yeah, and did you see my email this afternoon? At just an hour or so ago.
I did not.
The existing slope was very steep at 1.5 to 1 along the frontage. And that was okay because it was vegetated and it looked like it was pretty stable. But what has happened here, when Will cuts that slope across there, cuts that road across, that's similar to what happens when you put a road on the side of a mountain. You start with a slope, and in order to make that road flat area, both the slope above and below have to become steeper, or one of them, at least one of them does. And in this case, he's made both of them steeper. And it doesn't look that steep right now, but that's because the bottom of the dirt there is barely a couple of feet away from the pavement. Once he gets that back out of the way of the ditch and unburies the ditch, that'll be, really, really steep. That'll be steeper than 1.5 to 1, because 1.5 to 1 was what it was before. So absolutely, there need to be large retaining walls, or he can dig all the dirt out till he finds the actual rock, because the rock will not erode. So rock makes a great retaining wall, but dirt over it or next to it will end up running into the ditches. We already have huge problems with that all over the valley, I'm noticing. All the culverts are buried. We don't need that. I really think this is a great driveway. Don't get me wrong, as far as a driveway goes, but it comes with the need for high retaining walls on both sides. They can be a
Yeah.
landscape block type, which is not that expensive. But, you know, nothing like GeoGrid, which doesn't last. You know, this is gonna be just way too steep. It needs a wall.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Karen. You remove all that dirt and then put in rock, you still have loose soil underneath the driveway. And I don't see the driveway lasting a whole long time.
I mean, the upslope neighbor has a wall. Maybe two, I don't remember, but he definitely has at least one.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to put retaining walls in the right of way? Is that okay with you guys? I mean, because the county said that they can't.
That's not preferred. It would have been better for Sudden Valley if you had kept the driveway as it was and not touched those steep slopes.
Well,
You know, left the
initially,
vegetation.
initially it was a huge berm right across the whole entire front of the property. I mean, I had to grab onto ferns to climb up that. I mean,
Well,
it's not
I
like
I looked at your original driveway and it worked because it was higher. It went straight up from the road. So it was like 2 feet higher than the ground at the bottom. And then it averaged things out. So it was a couple of feet lower than the ground at the top of that steep slope. And it wasn't in the steepest part of the slope to begin with. I mean, it was, the steepest part is on the uphill side. So anyway, the original driveway would not have been much higher or lower than the existing ground in any point.
But didn't the finished floor elevation change? It go up?
Yeah, it went up. Well, with the 16-degree variance, he could have put his garage slab at a foot higher than he had, a little over a foot. I don't know what he ended up actually showing, but 117 point something.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that was a problem, is that the finish elevation went up higher than anticipated and thus causing the problem with the drive.
The slab is exactly a couple inches lower than the second approved plan. So it just I
What's
just
the
realized.
elevation?
What's that?
What's the numerical elevation?
It's on the plan 17. Well, whatever it says on the plans there.
Yeah, it didn't say on my set.
It's 117 something.
Yeah, I like the way that he's proposing on the new driveway going up there. And I agree, it does need some kind of erosion control to keep the ditch from filling in, especially once the ditch is cleaned out.
Yeah.
As far as walls within the on Sudden Valley, if we could stick with the landscaping type block that can be moved. I mean, you see that if it's needed instead of a poured retaining wall, then I think that can pretty much be worked around if it ever needs to be moved or dug into for utility or something.
I agree.
Should I still consult with Aaron, see if he proposes and has any other ideas, and get back with Joel and have him present it to you guys, or?
You can apply for something different always, you know, I mean,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't want anything temporary myself.
Yeah, I would think you're good with what you applied with now. With the slump stone, right? We're still talking about the slump stone.
Well, he didn't apply for any walls, so that would be our condition added.
Hmm.
That we require these retaining walls.
So someone mentioned some rocks. Is that just kind of stacking big rocks on top of each other and kind of compact them into the soil so they don't come out?
Well, there is a type of retaining wall called a rockery, but it's not, you know, it's a skill to build those. You see them all over Sudden Valley, but they're actual walls.
Okay.
They cost more than than the slump block, I think. To get someone to do that who knows what they're doing.
Well, I think we've gone around in circles on this. Are we willing to make a motion and vote?
I move to approve as submitted.
No, as submitted, it does not include any walls.
So with the addition of the landscaping block, retaining walls for erosion control, or as submitted?
As submitted with the block.
Okay,
retaining walls.
With a high enough wall so there are no slopes left steeper than 2 to 1.
Yeah, I would agree to that amendment.
Okay.
Works for me.
and so this guy have to be a verbal vote because I can't see anybody more than one at a time. So all approved, say aye.
Aye.
Hi, that's Karen.
Anybody opposed?
Aye, Keith. Not opposed. I in approval.
Okay. Now everybody's unanimously approved with the erosion control landscaping block then.
Okay.
Okay, Joel, next? Or was there anything else on that?
Did we ask for the block not to be the light color? Well, actually, never mind. It's okay.
I think
Okay.
he'll pick something that goes with the rest of his house. He's not gonna make something like that.
Yeah, they're all the same price, so.
Okay, so do we need to see that, revisit that again when the landscaping block wall is? Or we're just approving it conditional on that?
Well, it
It's,
needs to be,
it's up to you at this point, Joel, because we've approved it with the
Okay.
landscaping block. So it's up to you to make sure it goes in there the way it
Right,
needs to be
and
done.
that the
Okay.
toe of the slope is far enough back so the ditch is adequate.
right. Just needs to be there and be
It needs to be functioning.
needs to be restored. Right.
Yeah, and does he require Sudden Valley approval as well?
So because it's in the right of way, it should be part of his right of way permit, so we can add in there that.
Hmm.
wall will be built.
And just so everybody knows, we do have a new Bruce. It is Darren Finnison, number 56 at Sudden Valley as of last night. So I went ahead and Will already has his contact info and so does Joel.
Awesome.
All right. Next up, for a new construction change request, 16 Baywood Court. Connor, are you in here? He might be the telephone number.
I think they left.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Yeah, go over this really quick because I'm looking at what we have
yeah,
here.
I can talk. I know enough to talk about it at least. So what is going on here is on, where'd it go? So 16 Baywood. So, and you can see the markings, original markings are still there. So originally they had the house within this 20, so we have a 20-foot setback from the property line. We asked them to move the house back because they were within that 20-foot setback. So in doing so, it got too close to this tree right here. And so this tree was requested to be removed. However, that tree was in a critical area zone,
Mhm.
and which was outlined here on the plan sheet, but we didn't have enough. We weren't given the information. We didn't get any, critical areas assessment or mitigation, anything like that. And so they moved the house back. They removed that tree. County was alerted about it. They came out, put a stop order on them, said, hey, you need to move your house forward again. And so they're asking to move the house forward again.
So
Okay.
the house was in a buffer zone?
We basically forced it into a
Yeah.
buffer zone.
Yeah,
It's going
We-
back to
yeah.
County.
Yeah, we didn't put the house into the buffer zone, but because it was going to be cutting through the roots of this tree, we recommended that tree be removed.
Yeah.
But I think, but county had a very specific place with their natural resource assessment of where this house is supposed to be located, and they want to move it back to its, I think, original location, but now about moving it, I think, up a little bit as well, because upon locating, they found that there was a water main, I think, running right underneath their, I don't know which direction it's going, but right underneath their garage somewhere. And so they're talking about, I think he said moving the house up a little bit as well, like up this direction. So it's all kind of pending. They're still waiting to hear exactly from, I think, county on what they're gonna approve location wise. But
No, if that's a 30-inch tree, moving the house a few feet isn't going to solve that problem. But
well, it's not that they've already taken down the tree. It's
okay.
it's county's critical areas staff who's telling them you cannot put the house here.
So should this be deferred until the county comes back with their approved location?
Or
We could do that.
Or are we just gonna go ahead and look at approving it based on the county? Because we can't force them to put it on top of a water main. We can't force them to not comply with the county here.
Right.
And
I
as
didn't
long
see
as,
any problem with the other location.
yeah.
And
So
this
as long
is-
as they stay within our buffer zones, I think I would be ready to have someone make a motion on this, and let's get it off our table.
Yeah, move to approve.
okay.
It seems to
Second.
me this is another house that doesn't fit on the lot.
Yeah,
Well, the critical areas thing can get quite interesting.
and it takes a big chunk of their lot. Yeah. It's a huge
Under-
lot.
It's under a reasonable use permit. Yeah.
So we had a motion and a second. I'm assuming Susie figured out who that was that said it, because I kind of
Yes.
missed it. And so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Not hearing anybody opposed, it passed unanimously. Okay, Joel, go for the next one.
All right. So I guess we can start from the top. Item number 39, 3 Green Hill Road. And this is Vitali is here. I think he's our builder for this property.
Do we want to do the parking requests?
Oh. Oh yeah, for Arrow. John,
77 Valley Crest and 1 Green Hill. I don't know who they were.
oh, number 37 and 38. Oh yeah. So yeah, we can do those. These ones didn't make it on my desk because they were exterior alteration requests. So
Oh,
I just know that they, so I don't know. I haven't had a chance to really look at them a lot, but
okay. Well, we probably don't need you, I guess. Do we?
I know of them. I know what's being requested.
Is this the one that proposed temporary construction parking and to make it permanent at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, across the street.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I would just move to deny.
I'd second that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a move to deny.
Well, I'm not opposed to the temporary. I'm opposed to the permanent. So I'm not sure how we want to break this up. Or if it can be.
Yeah.
broken up.
Just being the contractor in the group, I've been around that corner. I actually looked at this lot originally, and you're going to need somewhere to park. Otherwise they're going to be in the middle of the street most of the time, and they're going to piss people off that way. So I at least think they're trying to be diligent about making access for their contractors to be on site.
Okay,
No.
so
Well,
I'm not
yeah.
opposed to the temporary parking. I'm opposed to the permanent parking. If
Yeah,
temporary parking.
I don't think there's any problem making them remediate it back to the original state once they're done.
yeah, isn't that what we're voting on here? Is just
I
converting? it?
actually looked at the site and I remember it, and you know, that's not going to be easy because the whole site there is low. It's like a little wetland there. It stays low. You know, there's a Sudden Valley Culvert in there somewhere that goes across Valley Crest Way, and there's a whole big area that's low in there. And so how are they going to fill that? They're going to fill a lot of natural, you know, land, property. It would be much better if right uphill from there, the neighbor has a fairly large parking area. If this is the one I remember, it's on a corner, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and up, let's see, no, I guess down on the page, on that plan page,
They're proposing it
uh,
around.
that neighbor there has a big gravel parking area with a junker car in it.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, it seems like they could use that for some of the parking. And of course, their construction access is way up at the upper end. You know, no, I have a problem with temporary parking there. If they want to do it, they should do it maybe somewhere less, I don't know, maybe up by their permanent parking. No, they have their trees there. Is this the one? Yeah. Yeah, no, I kind of have a problem with their temporary parking even.
If that's a natural wetland, you really can't fill it in and compact it for parking.
I don't know how soft it is. I looked at it. I didn't step in it, but
Hmm.
What kind of
you know,
vegetation's in it?
I don't think we can call it a wetland, you know, unless we know it's a wetland, but it is a drainage ditch.
and it is a very wide, large, low area there.
Mhm.
Bruce, what's your thoughts?
I'm trying to remember it. I don't recall. What kind of
Remember that-
vegetation was in it? I don't recall the vegetation in there.
The junk car next door.
I remember the junk car next door. I do not recall seeing any wetland type vegetation in that ditch though.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember what was in there?
I have some pictures, but I don't know how to share that.
I have some photos of the site in general.
Still on my phone even.
So here we are, rounding the curve.
See, we got sword fern. That's well
Yeah.
drained.
Yeah, that's not the, yeah, there we go.
We got a few sedges right in the base there. You
Yeah,
know,
If
in
they're
the
gonna
rest of-
intercept this culvert, they need to put a catch basin here.
Yeah. But just looking at right there, we got the only wetland is some of the sedges right in the bottom area itself. Everything else is showing sword fern or more of a well-drained type of vegetation on there. You know, just on this picture, I wouldn't call it. I really didn't. Yeah, I'm looking at sword fern and stuff through there. I'm not seeing a wetland.
Those trees are ribboned.
Mhm. This tree with a pink ribbon right here.
I'm talking about the large ones.
Yeah, this tree is this tree right here on this photo.
So the part that,
Again, I wouldn't be opposed to temporary construction parking, but I have a problem with making it permanent at the end of it. I don't understand the need for that.
I agree with that, absolutely.
Okay. So what are we asking for in this particular request? I don't think it's asking for, this isn't asking for the temporary parking, right? It's just asking for conversion to permanent?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
let's see.
And we had a motion on here to deny. And I believe you even heard a second. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think I seconded. Who moved?
I'll withdraw my motion if we have a fix that doesn't include that part, to be permanent, and they restore it when they're done.
Actually, the request did not say anything about temporary. It just says
Yeah.
install permanent parking.
Yeah, the request isn't asking for temporary parking on this. So just addressing the request we got, they're asking for install permanent parking in right of way. And we have a motion to deny unless you withdraw it, and a second.
No, if that's gonna be permanent, I'll keep it as a deny.
Okay, all in favor of denying? Say
Aye.
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 Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Okay, it is unanimously passed that it is being denied. How do you like
Okay.
that wording, Susie?
Beautiful. Okay.
Okay, next one is Green Hill Road.
This one says they're requesting temporary construction parking across the road from the job site, becoming permanent upon completion.
Yeah. And who is working across the street there? It looks like I saw things marked there. Are we going to have a construction site on that other side also? Joel, have you heard anything?
There's nothing on my radar for across the street here from Green Hill. Here's one Green Hill, and we do have 3 Green Hill, which is on the agenda tonight. So there's going to be 2 constructions going on.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of marked trees and stuff over on the beyond where the requested parking area is. I always wonder about making parking up adjacent to someone else's property and then calling it permanent. So I'm really, personally, I really don't know what to think on this one.
I didn't get a chance to look and see if this would well,
How can
it's
you?
about to be built on, then this becomes moot, but otherwise I didn't, I wanted to see if there were any trees that it would harm.
How do you request a variance on property that doesn't belong to you?
This would
Well, in a way,
Yeah,
it's,
this
if
would
it
be in
is
the right of
Sudden
way.
Valley, if it is Sudden Valley's right of way, then you're requesting on Sudden Valley land.
Mhm.
But that's another thing, they need to survey it to make sure that it is on Sudden Valley.
And
It
I think
probably
there
is.
markers.
I'd be okay with temporary, at least temporary parking going in here too, because we will have 2 construction sites go on next to each other, and I've been there a couple times, and it's really just muddied up right next to it and across the street.
Yeah, and they don't have much flat frontage.
Mhm.
The
And
slope goes
considering
down.
what that looks like, permanent parking wouldn't be out of the way there either. It's just that, you want to, it's adjacent to someone else's property. So I have trouble. Temporary, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm good on the temporary.
So anybody want to make a motion on this?
I move to approve as the temporary parking, but I'm opposed to the permanent after construction.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of improving temporary, denying permanent afterwards, say aye.
Can we make a,
You're welcome, sweetheart.
we add to that they need to restore it back to its original condition?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be part of our final too, is making sure that it's restored.
Okay.
At the end.
Okay,
So all in, did we, I don't think we voted on that, did we? All in favor of that?
You told us you wanted a cookie.
aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it is passed unanimously.
Okay.
That it is
Who made the
temporary
motion?
approved, permanent has not been approved.
Who made the motion?
I did.
I have Keith made it and then
Oh, yeah.
Tom seconded.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So Joel, we down to three Green Hill Road now?
All right, yeah, let's get going with the
And right off the top,
Real
can
one.
you take
Yeah.
a look at my request? I mean, what are our rules on the 35% coverage? I thought that was more of a hard and fast type thing than something that we can gloss
Well,
over.
you know, I mean, a variance can be put in for anything. This is the one? This is a tough one with the lot size.
Yeah.
Just because they do have a really small window of, so 35% of, I think I had it in my notes here, my report. Let's see. So the lot's pretty small, 3,258 square feet, and there's not quite a conflict, but a pretty close. So the ACC requires a 1,000 square foot footprint minimum house to be at the property coverage rule of 35%. That would mean on this lot a square foot of 1,140 maximum. So you have to hit a house between 1,000 square feet and 1,140. So you have a 140 square foot working window there. And the proposed footprint of this house is 1,217 square feet, which is 76 square feet over. So it's a little over. I mean,
so is that strictly a Sudden Valley ruled in? It's I thought some of that was coming in from the county watershed requirements.
I'm not sure about county watershed exactly.
I don't think it is.
But if this
Just ours?
Been approved with county,
Now, did
Okay.
they shrink the roof
and I
overhang?
think it has. Sorry, say again. Roof overhang.
Did they shrink? What was their final roof overhang? 'Cause I calculated they were 40%, which works out to 1,300. With the 16.75 inch roof overhang. But and the 1,000 square feet is not a footprint. That's a minimum square footage of living space. So a 2-story house could be 500 square feet in footprint for our minimum house size rule, I think.
The eave overhang is measured at 1 foot 4 inches.
So if that's the case, 16.75 is what's shown on my plans. If they shrank that to 1 foot, I thought they would get to 38%. I don't know how.
Yeah, Vitali, the builder's here.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so if I can mention something. So this is something that I've submitted to the ACC about 3 times last year. And I've redrawn this house a couple of times. And last time I was given the kind of, in concept approval, green light, saying, if you submit this to us next time, we'll be okay with it. So I went ahead and did everything. I already got county permits issued. And so as far as, because I mean, it is a insanely difficult, not only lot size, but topography. And this was a big challenge for me and my architect, because if you look at the site plan, we're just looking at the way the house sits in the lot. But when you start looking into inside the house, I mean, this is small and it just goes up. And again, we kind of did that to get it to as good of a house as we could, given with what we're working with. I know one other thing that they brought up was how close it is to the other house number 5, and those neighbors there. So that shouldn't be an issue at this point. But yeah, so that was one of those things. I don't have enough, I don't have the actual dates, but I've had this into ACC a number of times and they said submit it with a variance. In the past, that's been kind of the way to get a lot of these approved is, you know, some of these are very, very difficult. And I've had some of the really difficult lots in Sun Valley in the past. So the variance was the way to go.
Hey, Joel, what's the lot size on this one again?
3,258 square foot.
Wow.
Right, that's right. I am screen sharing. Yeah, right here.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
And it's all downhill.
Yeah.
Susie, do we have any documentation to back up what he's saying?
That's a great question. I will look into it.
Yeah, you mean regarding previous submittals?
Yes, and that there was a kind of a verbal that we were at the time.
Yeah, it's always tough when ACC members keep changing.
Is this a spec house?
No. So it's actually a house, a lot that I owned. And I don't own at this time. A guy that is a really good friend of mine that used to work for me and is going to be working for me again. He's building it. The idea is for him to live in it. It was designed for him and his family. He's got 3 kids, and that's the plan. I actually don't own the house, the lot anymore. I gave it to him, and so I'm still the builder and I'm very involved, but he owns it.
I mean, he would have to understand that there would be absolutely no room for patios or decks.
Yes, so this is a challenging lot in a lot of different ways. We had a challenge with the stormwater, the topography. There's a lot, and we understand all of that. This was never what we wanted. Even the way I bought this I bought this lot from Sun Valley at an auction without even knowing what I bought. Not blaming anybody, but I was told it was much bigger than it is. And in the end, we worked close with the previous GM and previous ACC chair to make the best out of it. Because at one point I was just going to dump it. And they're like, well, hey, we want you to pay dues. We want those dues. Let's work it out. So there's been a lot of conversation in the past about this particular lot with the previous ACC chair, the GMs. There's been a lot of thought put into it in every step of the way, because I knew there was going to be difficulties. And first time we submitted it, it had variances for height, setbacks, lot coverage, everything. And even at that point, it didn't really make much sense building it for me as a builder or a spec. With it, we shrunk it down, we redid it. It would not make much sense for me to even do this as a spec, and I'm not much of a spec builder anyway. This is mainly, we're making the best for a family to move into. This is gonna be their first home. The idea is for them to live in it. And like I said, at this point, I don't even own it anymore. I'm on the papers, I have the permits, I'm the agent, but that's our goal. And the whole Skybridge thing was another issue. We actually copied that off of another house down the road that had similar issue. So that's how we were able to make that work. Is it's a very difficult lot. There's not a lot of ones these small that are being built on.
The small. Bruce, what's your opinion?
Well, I'm waiting to see what all they come up with on Karen stuff. Mine, I looked at it, it's a tight fit. It's an extremely hard lot. You know, my only question was really, because it looks like he's trying to keep it in with all the other setbacks and heights and everything else. So if it's just the variance, you know, and it's just our call, it's not a deal breaker on me.
Yeah,
All right,
it's not
I
that
move
big,
to approve as submitted.
Wait,
I
we-
would like to see what he's got for, as far as dispersion on the water, because having it disperse up on top going toward the neighbor's property didn't feel right to me. You know, if it could go and disperse off the lower end into the park area, that would make me feel better.
Yeah, can we go through my comments by any chance?
Yeah, go through Karen's.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, let's see. So we had a similar one about the
Variances, we can skip that one.
variance. Yeah. So let's go skip down. Yeah. And on to the dispersion trench here. So, we do, actually, this is very similar to the one Green Hill next door. They have a similar situation where they're proposing pumping the stormwater up here and having it run down the lot.
I actually, the first time when I visited for 1 Green Hill Road, I did not go down to the bottom. But this time when I visited for 3 Green Hill, I did. And I got to look at that park and it seems perfect. It's not really being used. It's just a bunch of woods there with a small, barely used sort of deer trail, I think, through. Maybe people go there occasionally. But, and it slopes off to, on the page here as we're looking, it slopes towards the north there. So it runs parallel to the back of all these lots, kind of. It's like a little, there's a little knoll opposite. So the water would run on a gradual slope to the north. So if they can, I mean, ideally they would move both the trench and the dispersion trench to the bottom, because then, you wouldn't have to pump your downspouts up. I don't know if there's room for it down there, but I would really like to see that dispersion trench at the bottom of the lot.
That was not an option when we did the stormwater. That was another thing that we tried many different options. And I remember specifically Aaron Russell at Axe Engineering. He's done a lot of these in Sun Valley. He's owned property in Sun Valley. And that was one thing he was saying, you're going to have a hard time. And this is the only way that I can think of making this work. As far as the neighbor lot, 5 Green Hill, I own that lot. And so I'm that house. And so if there's ever an issue or if I get to do an easement or anything, I'm super okay with that. And so this is one thing where Aaron County, everybody got involved. It's approved the way this is. So changing it is very, very difficult at this point. B, I remember he specifically said this is your only option. And C, they're going to monitor and stormwater with county. The inspections are the hardest to, I mean, you can't really change anything without them getting into it. They really look at it very closely. So it's, at this point, I think that's kind of our only option. And like I said, it's already been approved, recorded, permits issued, ready to roll. And as far as county's concerned, this is what they want to do. I don't know all the details about it, but I remember having those conversations with both county and Aaron over at Axe Engineering.
How steep is the lot going to be there where the dispersion trench is?
I mean, you can look at the topo lines. It's steep, but then it kind of flattens out towards the bottom.
So Joel, you want to go ahead and hit the rest of Karen's?
Oh, okay, let's move on. Yeah. Please provide, number 4, please provide a wall elevation drawing, finished grade lines up front and back for any proposed retaining walls. So let's see. I think we do have. On our elevations. You know, I don't think we're gonna have any retaining walls.
The Sky Bridge is gonna be.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
On what?
Sky Bridge house. Yeah, we are gonna have a sky bridge along that a retaining wall here along the sky bridge there.
On the driveway edge.
Mm-hmm.
If I can make a comment on everything regarding retaining wall, driveway, sky bridge. A lot of conversation, a lot of thought went into this with my architect and looking at all that stuff. It's insanely tight in there. We did the best with what we could looking at all this on paper. And so this is kind of drawn up the best he could.
This is that our policies require retaining walls to be drawn up. We need to start, showing what we're planning.
Well, they are.
Policies.
They're drawn up there. They're on. Everything's pretty detailed on the plan. What I'm saying is, and I've had this experience. I have not had a single house that I built out in the valley built the way it was drawn up. I've had houses, we're looking at topography, that were requiring a 7-foot retaining wall. We got away with a 3-foot. And then I've had houses where we're thinking 3 feet's probably gonna be okay. And once we start digging, we figure out, no, we gotta go deeper. We gotta do this. And,
this is
went
not
back.
the way we should be doing things.
Well,
I was an engineer. We did highway bridges, and they were rarely changed after the design was done. The quality of the designs here are not, in my opinion, very good. If they, I can see where you see that green, where the end of the sky bridge is, that's up in the air. It's at the same elevation as the road, 718. And the contour line there is 714, 713. So what's going to happen there? Is the sky bridge just going to, people are going to jump down from there?
no.
And
So
then
the retaining wall
also needs to go further up along the driveway till it catches, till the driveway elevation matches the grade in the yard. So it does need to be longer.
So the retaining wall. Go ahead.
I think the surprises you're getting is because of the quality of the plans I've been seeing.
Yes.
Not very
Lack
good.
of engineering. Yeah.
So I'm working with professionals that do this all day, every day. I'm not an engineer, nor am I a architect. I know also that the architect that I use is very familiar with Sun Valley, and I have never had an issue with him drawing up homes that are even more complicated than this. I think looking at the plan, the retaining wall is there. It shows where it's going to be, and we have a pretty good picture of what we want as final grade. The one thing I'm saying is, and I've worked on commercial projects and I've been involved with architects and engineers design a house, but once you start building it, there's certain unknowns and known unknowns. With one like this is it's tight. You got topography, so you got the driveway being so tight. So what we're going to do, and this is maybe you guys can do a conditional approval, to look it backward, but the thought is very simple. We put in a driveway and we make it, the way it's shown. And then we put a retaining wall the way it has to be in there to support the dirt, to support the end of the sky bridge. And at that point, we either bring in more fill to raise that pad as you exit the Sky Bridge and to go up the road, or we frame. And a lot of that's determined by what's there, because there are things that you're looking at the plan and you don't really, I mean, you don't see it, or it may change once you start taking trees out and roots, and you're either bringing in fill or you're taking out more than you thought, and
That's
I've worked and I got
doesn't work as shown. If the design
Well,
worked as shown, you
I
wouldn't be
think-
making all these changes. And then, when the stormwater designer calculates, he calculates that you're gonna, leave part of the lot alone, and you're gonna have native plants back in. Let me back up.
Yeah, I have to agree with Karen on this.
When you-
Designer's a little short-sighted when he's looking at everything. There are unknowns there. But at the same time, you have to calculate what's happening out there. You do know what's there, and you need to finish the design accordingly. You're kind of leaving it up in the air, and hey, we'll just finish it as we go along out there and get it done. And I have to agree with Karen on this one. You should be a little more forthcoming in the design process.
I'm with you guys. And I think with all the changes that are happening this year, where everybody's really sharpening their pencils on a lot of this. All I'm saying, and this isn't an excuse, but I've submitted and got approved and built a few homes out here. And this has been my experience, where if there's something that's not 110%, we work on it. And this isn't just me and my designer. I've taken over homes that foundation was put in place, and then I came in and poured more concrete and put in more retaining walls on some of these. And so if it's just the only issue of that one page that's showing the retaining wall stopping short of where the drive ends, that's a pretty easy fix. I mean, I can add that in, and like I'm saying, if you guys, with the changes being made this year and things are needing to be a lot more details than in the past, if I can get a conditional, per approval saying retaining wall needs to be ABC and going to the end of the road. But I mean, it doesn't change the location of the retaining wall. It doesn't change the height of the retaining wall. The retaining wall is there. We know it's going to be there. It's going to need to go as far as it needs to taper out with the driveway to the front of the road. The elevation of the house, elevation of the retaining wall, none of that changes. And it's, in my opinion, more clearly on the plan. I guess maybe if it's just that one issue where it's stopped a little bit short. Yeah, maybe I agree with that. The architect could have, should have
And you're gonna need
put a little
fill,
more.
it looks like you're gonna need fill. So then how are you gonna make sure that fill has a reasonable slope or has a retaining wall along the side of it? As you go to the end of the Sky Bridge, and then you're trying to get the rest of the way over to the street, you're gonna have to have more walls along both sides of that Sky Bridge, or make the Sky Bridge longer. Or, maybe
Yeah.
you need to do is make that Sky Bridge longer so it gets all the way over to the street.
And I would like to add in here, it's not changes that we've made this year. It's the fact that we're enforcing policies that have been on the books for a long time. It's just that you've gotten by with not adhering to a lot of them. And so I agree. One change in the retaining wall makes a difference in the stormwater and everything else. So it's an ongoing effect, but we need to address it.
Yeah. And the difficulty is that, and I've been here for 15 years, it's that the one thing in Sun Valley that's constant is the change. And different AC members looking at different things. County's the same way. And so for us, it is extremely difficult to catch up with this. There's been talks that I've had, I spent 3-4 hours talking to the previous chair and worked out a lot of kinks, and then a week later find out she's gone. And even with this, And so it is extremely difficult. And for us and for you guys, and I'm not trying to make any excuses. The other difficult part is that we got a 4-month window to build. And we got people that, you know, their personal lives are involved in this, you know, tree guys, excavation guys. And it's only going to get more difficult. And I see this every single year, where at the end, and, you know, counties coming out and finding people $1,000 a day because, you know, and I'm not making excuses for anybody. I'm not trying to cast blame. Like I said,
hold it. Let's take the time out on this at this point because we're going around in circles again. We got a long list to go through.
Can I ask for a conditional approval and then I'll change the retaining wall and show it to you guys? Because that's going to be a while before I get to it anyway. Just so I can start excavating this. And like I said, I'll show you guys the retaining wall next week, maybe the week after, to make it
let
work.
us go through. Let's finish the looking at the rest of this for the moment now. I'm actually being rude and cutting people off at this point. Let us, so the question is first right off the bat on this particular idea, Karen, if he comes back with the plan updated, will that meet your objection on this particular point? So we can go through and look at some of your other stuff.
If his new plan makes sense and, you know, where the sky bridge doesn't end up in the air and the retaining wall ends.
So this sounds like something that we can go forward and make sure Joel jumps on top of. So, okay, Joel, go through the rest, go forward to something else here.
One brief comment on the sky bridge is if it's extended, it's going to cut further into his 35%, which is already.
No, the sky bridge is only part of the 50%. And I think he has some allowance left there.
Yeah, it can't go too far because here's the property. There's the property edge here, so it can only go a little bit more. But
it drops off.
Yeah, but it's almost there when it gets to the property line. It's at 7.
Have some steps going down too if there is.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel, move forward to one of the next points now. Let's kind of walk through.
Yeah, sure. So being done with the sky bridge, adding the railing to it.
It's a little bit steep. If you make it longer, then it would be less steep.
Yeah, 11 or 12% slope, 2 feet elevation gain. We can try to bring it down.
That's not, hugely important, I guess. So if I lived there, I wouldn't want to be walking down something 11 or 12% slope in the winter. But to me, the biggest issues were, well, also, what's the underheight clearance from the driveway there? Is an SUV or a truck going to be able to do that without hitting the sky bridge?
I figure approximately 11 feet.
Yeah, and that's a county. They would be looking at that too when they do their inspections.
You made the same comment.
There's clearances for driveways.
Yeah, the bottom of the bridge to the face surface of the concrete. How much vehicle can go through there?
I figure it's going to be about 11 feet.
On the bottom of the bridge, because the difference between
if you take the middle of the sky bridge and just measure down bottom of sky bridge.
The lowest point, so that would not be the middle, it would be left or right.
Well, it's flat driveway is going to be pretty, I mean, we're not going to try to have too much difference from side to side. We're going to try to curve it in a way where it stays similarly flat, but we're still 10, 11 feet, 9 at least. We got enough height. The house is raised enough and the height shouldn't be an issue at all. And it wasn't an issue with county.
Sounds good. Next.
That's part of county inspection. What else? Oh, some cosmetic things. A700 shows a stone veneer. accent area on the front of the garage, and they want to see that on the spec sheet. But it's just, I guess there's not going to really be any stone in the end. It's going to
There's
be
no stone.
is that right?
Yeah, architect just, I've always given him the freedom to do whatever he wants for siding, stone, and that's never been an issue, never thought about it. But this house in particular, we're not going to do stone. It's just going to be hardy siding, combination of panel and lap siding. But we weren't, at this point, we weren't thinking about doing stone.
So that area would match the vertical striped area or the horizontal striped area?
No.
I'm not sure. The reason I like the different hardy and panel is most because the house is skinny and tall if you look at the left side of this west elevation, and just to break it up, just so it doesn't look all like, I mean, it's just mainly for aesthetics, and I don't have the exact you know, plan of where I'm doing what, but it's gonna be very similar to what it's looking at right now. Maybe instead of the board and batten vertical, we would put panels in there.
No.
There's not a lot of windows. I mean, there's not a lot of siding in the front because there's a lot of windows, and it's mainly, and even looking at the picture, like I said, I know I don't want stone, and most of my homes I tend to go with some kind of a hardy product, and panels and lap siding seem to do the trick. It lasts longer and people like it more.
Well, then I would,
Okay.
your plan needs to reflect what you're doing.
Yes.
So this is one of those things we are really sharpening the pencil on this time around. In the past, we've always gotten away with a spec sheet, and then if I make any significant changes, I submit to ACC middle of the construction saying, this is what we're doing. And I can do that if this is something you guys want to see on the plan where I got it all laid out exactly. I can do that. Again, this was drawn up over a year ago. I've never had anybody mention anything about, you know, what kind of siding on any of my meetings, on any of my homes. The only thing that was what material was. Is it hardy? Is it wood? Is it rock? Again, I'm just saying, I don't even know what the policy state as far as if my plans need to reflect. I mean, I've seen plans that they don't even have any kind of lap, vertical, or panel siding showing on the plan. There's a wall.
Well, I'm sorry if those plans got through and approved, because you definitely should be reflecting what you intend to build.
Yeah, and I agree with Keith, what he said earlier. These rules have always been in place. They just haven't been enforced. Now they're being enforced.
And I think this is the difficulty, is that we are, I'm again, not an excuse, but all the homes that I've done here or elsewhere, it has never been an issue. And that's why I've never really worried about it and just had my architect do what he does from going forward. And this was drawn up over a year ago. Going forward, we're definitely going to change things up and have the plan show what
Yeah,
we
I
intend
just
to
like you
build.
to show what you guys intend to build. How do you
Yeah.
got a guy out there going to build something and, hey, we're not sure what we're doing. We're going to do a river rock, or hey, we're going to do hardy plank siding. That's a massive difference.
Well, the material has always been an issue, and I've always addressed that. So on the spec sheet, I would put down hardy lap siding, hardy panel, or stone. In this particular one, I addressed this with Joel a week or two ago, and on the last notes where I said there will be no stone. The whole house, we're intending to do hardy lap and panels.
I do have a separate thing. There have been a lot of people complaining about the panel siding.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think it looks good. And I don't think it looks good.
Yeah.
Big panels right here.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce, can we defer this? Because it doesn't look to me like it's ready for approval.
Okay, primarily, what are we waiting for? We've got him hopefully fixing the retaining wall by adding that to the plans. And here again, it's a plan, it's a visual on what the west elevation primarily. And then looking at the type of siding.
Right. So, well,
Again, that's something that can be,
Yeah,
that
I
can
think
be.
you should
handled later.
approve pending comments.
I can check.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, if this is the only thing, these are cosmetics primarily, so I think if we passed it and then had them come and clean those things up with Joel and come back with the siding so
Yeah.
that we're, can approve that separately, I'd rather not hold them up.
I agree.
So that would be my 2 cents worth. I'm chairing this thing, so I don't get to make a motion here, so.
I move
Motion
to
to-
approve pending comments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, hang on, what are the comments?
Is there anything else to add to the comments?
Address the sky bridge
Yeah,
in too high
And
a
the retaining
location.
walls.
Lengthen the retaining wall, lengthen the sky bridge.
And we're looking at the rendition of the, we want to have it show what he's actually going to build on as far as the siding.
yes.
And
Mhm.
have
Do you
that-
guys want that on all the elevations around the whole house or just that front that we were looking at?
Oh,
Yeah,
Are you
'cause the-
planning on- are you
actually,
planning on changing all the elevations or just that front where you said you're gonna have rock or stone and now you're not?
Well, what I'll do is I'll go through the whole house and really sharpen my pencil and figure it out. As I look at it right now, I'm actually good with the siding the way it is. The front's the most important. And honestly, if it's an issue, I'm good with keeping the siding as is, no panels. I've had board and batten on my other homes. It looks good. And the only change I really want is the no stone. So if that's the only
Okay.
comment, done. I'll just continue siding on where it shows stone and call it a day and no
That's just
panels.
the west, and that's just the west elevation as far as I can.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. If we just continue what I have on the left and make that note,
so is it gonna
done.
be the horizontal or the vertical in that area?
I'm good with the picture the way it is. If we just do lap on the whole bottom,
The horizontal,
vertical,
okay,
yes, so lap, yes, so horizontal, sorry, vertical on the middle and then horizontal on the top. I've done that exact same thing on another previous house and it does the job and I'm good with it.
okay. I'm
If you
good
guys
with
are
it.
okay with that.
So we had the motion. Do we have a second on that? Trying to remember.
Well, we're
Yeah.
going through what the motion actually is. So we're lengthening the
Okay.
retaining wall, lengthening the sky bridge, not having panel siding.
Right. And so the
And,
only edit then is really on the west elevation where he's changing that. So as
Yeah,
long as it
the-
shows what we're getting.
The retaining wall is shown on the sky bridge. It's on the drawing.
It's
Yeah,
not the right length.
yes.
It ends where it's still way up in the air. I said lengthen it.
Hmm.
And lengthen the sky bridge.
Needs to be engineered.
Right. So are we ready to vote on this? 'Cause we're just
Those
pending
three
those
conditions?
things. Those three conditions, right?
Aye,
Everybody approves, say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
aye.
I,
So that
Who moved
sounded
it?
like everybody. So Susie, you got all that?
Yep.
who moved?
Okay.
Cool,
That
thank
was
you.
approved.
Thank you, Vitali.
Thanks.
And Joel, let's go to the next.
All right. Next up, we just got done with 3 Green Hill. We actually have another one from Vitali while he's here. 18 Sudden Valley Drive. That's going to be item number 42. 18 Sudden Valley Drive. And so this was previously approved by ACC last August, I believe.
Most of those people left, huh?
Well, actually, I remember it.
August 10th, 2020.
And we approved, but we
Yeah.
said Sudden Valley had to be okay with it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
comments, approved with comments are here, and I guess these have been taken care of. I do have a letter for saying that maintenance was gonna remove the barriers.
Move them further up the hill.
I assume so, yeah. And then licenses, I checked his license is current. And we do have a more detailed landscaping plan.
Okay, wait a minute. So do we have a letter from maintenance that that they're willing to move those barriers?
I do have, what do I have?
And willing to have their
Yeah, they've
driveway go there?
from via text message with Susie, I believe.
Yes.
Because that's more pavement for Sudden Valley to maintain and more water going into that
Culvert. Yes, I would move to approve with Sudden Valley accepting and any applicable fines.
Well, I had some comments.
Yeah, there were some comments on this.
They're beyond their 90 days, so they
Yeah.
need approval again.
Yeah, that's something that we're gonna recommend.
We lengthen.
Yeah, so that to help avoid this crunch time of, so that, you know, we could do this, someone can put in an approval in August and they could start building in June. All right, yeah, comments on this one, let's get to them.
I assume you're gonna make sure that's gonna be a frosted side on that light, and because
Yeah.
looks
Mhm.
like an exposed bulb on the picture.
Oh yeah, I think it's hard to make out. I think the glass has kind of that bubbly texture to it with little bubbles, but we'll make sure that it is not exposed and it is frosted in the end.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. All right, yeah, so Bruce is aware he's grieving the eco blocks, blah, 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 blah. Kind of a question about the design of the house fitting into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of,
I deleted it. It's just, I really don't like it.
okay. Yeah, and I mean, I see a lot of these,
Okay.
you know, more modern designs coming up.
This looks like a bunch of stacked boxes, and
Shipping
it
container.
does not look like it doesn't look like a good house to fit into the neighborhood, but
But I've seen a couple, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I've been around. All right.
against the early ones, I'm afraid the horse might be out of the barn on this one, but I still don't like it.
Was the survey submitted? Yes, we did. And so we've had the physical copies of this since August. We had a physical survey. We did get the digital one, I think just today finally. Or was it last night? So we do have a digital survey available. I put that in, I think I put that in the drive for you as well if you want to take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have permission. The driveway is only, this is Karen's comment number 3, driveway is only 2 feet from the inlet of the 18-inch Sudden Valley culvert. Not enough separation. The only way it would work is to join the new to the old with a grate and clean out the junction, but it's much better to have a real separation. So I think, yeah, we can make that change at the, I think
You have the site plan?
we can have the culverts be joined with a clean out and a grate installed.
would be much better to have the driveway further away from there because that's a big, long culvert. And
You're talking about,
Sun Valley's culvert, it starts south end 18-inch CMP culvert, that there. You see that? No.
in here.
Yeah. And I think it goes all the way across Sun Valley Drive.
This culvert, which culvert are you talking about?
Let's see, right next to their driveway, on the downhill side of their driveway.
Uh-huh.
It says south end 18-inch CMP culvert.
Uh-huh.
That, yeah,
Okay, so there's a culvert under the roadway is what
yeah.
I see.
That's draining apparently quite a bit of water that comes down that arrowroot place.
Mm,
I don't know exactly where it comes out,
right.
but that's concerning because it's gotta be pretty far away.
Yeah, we don't know where that culvert exits. My guess is it probably connects somewhere underneath. Well, we can install a catch basin there with a grate. But Vitaly, does that sound good?
Yeah, do you guys see the notes that I sent you, Joel, last night? So that was part of my notes. If we need to put a catch basin there, done. And a clean out with a grate. I've done those before.
All right.
Very common in Sun
And
Valley.
you would need to match the diameter of that culvert too.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go bigger. In the past, we've almost always gone bigger. Bruce was pretty specific about that. So I don't know how to do it's happening
Well,
this year.
No,
But
don't go
usually-
bigger. If you're connecting the two,
That's what we've always done. We've a lot of these homes, Bruce was the one
Okay.
after compliance that comes out and says, oh, on this one, I want a 12-inch, I want a 15-inch.
Oh,
And
okay.
so whatever size you guys want, done.
Actually, bigger is okay if there's a catch basin, right? Because the pipes don't connect to each other.
Yeah, so there's a catch basin with a grade because it's over 40 feet. And so on this one, if I'm correct, this culvert actually goes and kind of curves because there's another catch basin with a grate right below, and that's where my stormwater is going into. So I don't think it goes all the way across the road. And
Oh, maybe it does go there. I don't know.
yeah, so there's already one there. And so I think it's just that. I know Sun Valley ACC guidelines, whatever says anything over 40 feet, you need a catch basin and a clean out. And yeah, I've done those in the past. It's, like I said, very common. And
Okay.
whatever size culvert you guys want, done.
I guess bigger is okay if there's a catch basin. Smaller is not so good.
I think 12 is the standard. And Joel, correct me if I'm wrong. But
12 is the
12
minimum.
That's the
Okay.
minimum.
I think every single house I've done was 12 except one house. It's got a 15.
Yeah, that's, we only have a really old 1982 stormwater study that gave estimated flows. And we haven't really been able to, access that until quite recently. We didn't know, I didn't know it existed.
Mhm.
But it's really important because some areas in the valley that those flow numbers are huge.
Mm.
And if you put a 12-inch culvert, that would be a disaster.
I've looked through it and I could try to find out what size is recommended.
Yeah, they
it's-
don't go to that level of detail.
Yeah, I assume if
Just
it's gonna
actually
be,
the size. The size depends on a lot of factors, the slope, the length.
yeah,
There's a variety of things that affect, like, cooling at the top end, and there's a lot of hydraulic stuff that goes on. So you have to actually have an engineer design a culvert normally. But since the 18-inch one is there, then 18 inches should be hopefully okay.
okay.
And bigger would be good, I guess.
Next up, stormwater treatment facilities should be shown on the site plan. We did get that in on these updated plans here. Number 5, according to the geotechnical report, there's unlikely to be enough depths of suitable soil You know, reading geotechnical reports and doing soil depths I think is outside of the purview of ACC, and it's certainly outside of the purview of my stuff. I mean, the stormwater system has been designed by a licensed stormwater geoengineer. It's been approved by Whatcom County. I'm not worried about that. They come out and inspect the stormwater systems as well. Little things, labeling finished grades on sheets A900 through A902. Don't create slopes steeper than 2 to 1. I think, did we get those updated on this one?
They show the existing and proposed significantly different.
Final grade.
At the front of the home. Wait a minute, which? In here. At the back of the home is when that's more important because the property line is closed.
I see. So intended final grain is shown on the plan. It's a best guess at this point. Looking at the topo, final grading will be done in a way to minimize any slope toward the house. You're right.
So if I can add anything,
Yeah,
some
go
to
ahead. Is
this.
that right? Am I missing the?
Yeah, so this one should be easy from as far as to build because it's the way it's positioned on the lot. There's no houses. We can very easily do final grade and slope it away from the house. There's nothing that would prevent us from changing the final grade to not have any issues. And that's another conversation we had. And that was considered in making the decision to try to lower the house because the other comments that we got, and this is one I see a lot with my homes because I've got a few tall ones that I've done is anything you could do to not build a really tall house on a hill. I got a couple houses that I've done that was a big thing that I personally love the way they look, but a lot of the AC members were like, listen, we don't want these houses that are 45 feet tall that even though they're okay with the Sun Valley AC guidelines under the second definition, but in the front they end up being super tall. So part of these houses that are being built on an upsloping lot, which I like to build and I prefer the look of, I try everything I can to make the house seem not that tall. And so that was partly here is why we try to keep it low, not having huge retaining walls in the back. And even on the sides, we can do the final grading to where we go away from the house, or at least not towards the house. I have the room. It requires to maybe remove more dirt from the lot. And that's something county requires you to submit paperwork and where it's going, how much of it's been removed. And so again, all of that's been approved by county. I already got permits issued. And so that's the reason, again, this house was drawn up 2 years ago and approved. So looking at it today, that's my reasoning behind what I did back then, which is what I've done with a lot of my homes that again are tall and on a very difficult steep upsloping lot. You don't have that issue on a down sloping daylight basement
The
but on
issue
these
would
kind of
be,
lots.
the issue would be changing the amount of foundation wall versus siding so that the grade line, the new proposed and final grade lines, existing grade lines can be closer together, especially at the back there. And also where there are trees that are being preserved, because we're going to be fencing off those tree drip lines, those areas, and expecting to see no dirt, all those plants undisturbed in that area under the tree. And so you won't be able to change the grade in those areas. So what we would like to see going forward, or what I would like to see going forward, is a lot more, less disturbance of less digging, especially where the property line is close, to have existing and proposed very close to each other. You could you would have to move that one window over, the lower window by the stepped siding. We also don't want steeper than 2-to-1 slopes. What you're showing here looks really, really steep. When you start from the back of the home and go down, how steep is that? If it's more than 2-to-1, you need a bigger retaining wall and you need to have less siding and more foundation wall. I'm not asking you to change the roof or anything like that, just less soil disturbance, less digging. You may not be able to have that landing right there.
And that's definitely something we've addressed. And even on another one of our designs at 21 Lost Fork, we actually ended up changing that one quite a bit. And that's something I'm definitely taking into consideration with some of these difficult to build on lots and the houses that I'm drawing for the future. Again, I'm taking everything that's been maybe not changed in the ACC, but the approach of the ACC and the guidelines, and definitely doing things differently this time around. This is not an excuse, but this is what we did back then. And I've actually have a house right down the road from this one that I used to live in, which was very similar with steep, and that was what we did. And so we are changing things moving forward. This one particular, we haven't made any changes. I'm thinking I can work around the trees and still grade it in a way where it doesn't slope towards the house. Still looks good, keeps the house a little lower, and not have most of the house underground, because having that window on that side, it's the only one that level on that side. If you look at the left elevation, kind of makes a big difference in just having more light in the house. But again, moving forward, we're definitely doing things a
And
little
perhaps
differently.
be a high up window, or
Yeah.
you can't dig in the tree root zones. And I remember there were 2 trees there on that side, I think, 2 trees on each side. Those will be fenced off, so you'll be very limited in how much digging you can do on the sides. You have to follow the existing grade. That means the house has to be buried more. That's just what it means. You can have a higher window. And pull that railing, that deck back towards the front. That's way too steep there to be walking much anyway. I don't know why you want to go out there.
Am I right here?
Yeah. And some of the other slopes further down look kind of steep too. That's the steepest from this picture, visually. That just doesn't, doesn't work.
So the way it's drawn up, I think I can build it, make it look good, make it work, not have it slope towards
Only
the
by
house.
destroying the trees.
Does it make sense? Am I able to ask to maybe remove those two little trees on the left side? And that way we don't have the tree issue at all. I mean, they're a 10-inch,
Mhm.
two 10-inch trees. And that way, like, I can slope away from the house, solve all these problems. Again, I think I can make it work even with those trees there. We do like to keep as many trees on site as possible. I prefer that look. But if we take those two 10-inchers out, takes care of us excavating in a way where minimize the slope. And yes, it's still steep, but I mean, there's definitely lots around Sun Valley. I've done lots that were much steeper where we had to get MTC or another geo company involved in, controlling, and because they're just very steep. This one, looking at that elevation, doesn't have that much slope.
Actually, it does. Over here, up at the other side, it looks really steep. But, I mean, I've toured some construction sites last season, and they did not look good. And there have been complaints in the community as well about the new constructions being.
With weather conditions the way they are right now, we have to do everything in our power to prevent stressing these trees already more than they're already being stressed. All the firs and cedars around my house are dropping off all their new growth. That's not good. They're trying to save energy and conserve water themselves. So anything we can do to prevent tree stress, we need to do.
And there have been so many trees that builders have damaged the roots of, and then they die and sometimes fall quite soon. We don't want hazard trees, and that's why we're having this new inspection before digging. And we fence off the tree around the perimeter of the foliage. Because it's
So all that being said, I wouldn't be opposed to you removing those two trees if necessary.
it doesn't solve the whole problem, though. We don't want slopes that have been dug up and then put back steeper than 2 to 1, 2 horizontal to 1 vertical. An existing
No, it
slope
doesn't. We could replant or whatever deemed necessary, but I wouldn't be opposed to removal.
of those two and replanting elsewhere. a little further
Exactly. Yeah.
But still, we don't want 2 to 1, steeper slopes than 2 to 1. If it's been disturbed, they won't be stable. They'll still erode.
Yeah.
And you're showing steeper, so I don't know what you're planning to do there. I would like to see plans that work. Don't create problems like that. I don't like approving, with this idea that you're going to fix it. Because then you go out there and you fix it on the fly like it's been done before in a way that's not.
Well, if you prove it with conditions, I'll make sure I follow whatever requirements, recommendations you guys put in place and do it right. I'm not trying to just build and get away with and
Can you
not
tell me right
ignore.
now what you're going to do with this steep slope? Well, how are you going to fix that?
Now, what is the
Easy.
solution? What is the solution here? That's what I want to get to.
Well, easy so if you guys give me a conditional approval, I can do my foundation and final grading in a way where I don't have that a slope exceeding 2 to 1. And so in
Well,
this case,
specifically,
I can do
what are
both.
you going to change? Are you going to lower the elevation in the back? Are you going to raise the elevation of the
So the
little
back,
pad
so the back, I want to keep the way it is with that little retaining wall there. If you're
at
looking
that height?
at,
Is
yes.
that
if you're-
ground line you don't want to push down?
Well, so again, what I would change, what I would like to change on this house, looking at this picture on the right and the left elevation, or the back, if I could keep that retaining wall there, have the two sides of the retaining wall taper out, and then I can raise my foundation wall of the house, and so that I'm not excavating that much, and then do my final grading on both sides of the house in a way that I don't have. So the right elevation, that's easy. I can just raise and my walls of the house, and there's nothing really there that would prevent me to do that, and just not even have that much of a difference. Most of it, it's not. It's only a couple of feet, and it kind of tapers out at the top where that's not that much. On the left one, where we have quite a bigger difference, removing those two trees gets me more room to move dirt around. B, I can raise the walls of my house, even if I go where that one window in the back is, up to the window, still have that window, and then slope a grade, do the final grading in a way that it doesn't go towards the house, it doesn't exceed the 2 to 1. And I looking at the topography, the survey.
Well, specifically for that diagonal line that Joel put the green highlight on, you would make a taller retaining wall where at the bottom?
Yeah, I can
At the
raise
landing?
that concrete where right now I have that little retaining wall there. So I can do a couple different things. I can raise that retaining wall, or better yet, I can just lose that retaining wall, lose that pad, and maybe put that retaining wall, move it to the right of the window if you're looking at the left elevation, so that the deck, instead of having a couple of steps and a landing, instead has a retaining wall at the end of it. And then have that concrete go up to the bottom of that window, and so that would fix, because that's the worst. And I see what we did there. Again, this was a couple years ago where we wanted that landing, and so I'm okay with losing that landing, moving that retaining wall, and putting a little more concrete on that wall of the house, and so that we're not having to excavate that much, which will significantly raise the bottom of that slope that Joe's got in green.
You're gonna do something like this.
Yeah. Well, no.
Oh,
So that, but then move it
At the
to
bottom of the
other
railing,
move it to the
kind
other
of-
side of the window.
yeah.
Can I make a
Exactly.
comment here? We have got a huge list here, and we're spending one time,
You're right.
a lot of time with one contractor
Sure.
re-engineering his drawings. And we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
We're wasting.
I personally would like to see all these revised and resubmitted so that we have plans that work, but that's just me.
Can I, same thing, ask for a conditional approval, and then I'll make sure to have this just the way Joel wrote up. I mean, those are two simple corrections unless there's more, and I can have that back to you guys. I don't even know if the culvert is much of a correction. This is an easy fix. I can draw it up and submit it to Joe tomorrow. I mean, it's same thing. If you guys would consider our window to build, these are difficult lots to build. I didn't know that this was going to be more difficult to reapprove. I assumed that this was going to be a slam dunk reapproval and you go build. And so I can make the necessary changes that you guys want to see. If I could just start cutting down trees and start doing the work, because it's going to get very difficult. We're already almost at the halfway point.
Yeah,
And there's
good
a lot of
point.
houses.
All right, well, we
Yeah,
have some
good
more
point.
comments actually also.
So do we have anything else here?
We do.
There's a few more.
Let's go through those quick. We got those. two.
Labeling the roof overhangs, that's,
Yeah. Yeah, having a label on the roof overhangs, it's not
it should be done, but
part of our policy because we can measure those on the plans.
But we don't need it to do it right now, I guess, as long as
Mhm.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
done.
They can be measured. I think the roofs are 18
Yeah,
inch.
and I made a correction, where the note said, which one is it? The one A902 or the 700? It's A902. It's a little error that the elevations don't match. A902 is the correct one.
Uh,
I don't know if you guys can see my notes that I sent to Joel.
No, I didn't. I've got the notes here on my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway,
yeah.
back to a tree issue next.
Question, the retention of the 4-seaters close to the parking pad. Yeah, so they were a lot more aware. Let's get to this quick here. So possibly removing these cedars here,
And that one there.
this one here.
Yeah.
Root damage, those guys should probably be removed. Let's see.
You're gonna be filling over the roots when you raise the grade with those walls. And that'll kill a lot of the roots. Plus you'll be
Yeah.
disturbing them when you build the house.
You'd be better off replanting something instead of trying to keep that.
I'm good with that.
I want to say remove and replant.
So we're up to potentially up to 6 or 7 trees to be removed and replanted. Those 4 in front, the 2 little ones on the side, and that possibly that one on the other side.
I think the 2 little ones on the side could be left as optional and just something to watch when he's doing it, because it's up on it looks like on the topo it's up on a slight ridge. He might be able to do his cutting without damaging the small ones like that.
Did you say this one in the back too?
No, well, possibly, but
Hopefully that's far enough away. And enough.
yeah, it's pretty
Close.
big.
Have them all marked.
Well, we'll see if he makes the changes on the side of the house, to get rid of that landing. Maybe it'll be better and those 2 little ones can stay, yeah.
All right.
So anyway, the 4 in front, I think, remove and
Yeah.
replant.
Okay.
Replant farther away.
Right. All right. Let's see what else. Landscaping plan. Reference stormwater design max non-native landscaping and density of plants not less than derived from.
I think that's already on there, isn't it? Did I just see that? On what we were just looking at.
Which one?
There's a note.
We were just on the tree canopy.
There's a note down here said at the bottom of the page.
Here or the allowable land.
We planted according to, oh yeah, that's there. And then that's part of the plans, right? And then this here, any area identified as native. Okay, no, that's good. They got that.
Mhm.
So
We do have, I believe, our very first Lake Whatcom native landscaping planning worksheet for submitted for landscaping.
cool.
Here's what's going where. We got numbers.
Cool.
Yeah, this is Axe. He's starting to do landscaping plans. I'd really like. I think it looks good. Specific paint colors. Yes, we do have, because I think the spec sheet, they're just kind of gray, dark gray, and a light one. We didn't have specific names, but I think we're gonna go with urbane bronze. Sherman-Williams 7048. And a picture of the retaining wall here has been attached. Is that a pre-approved color? The
I
top
don't know, it doesn't really matter. I'm okay with it.
in bronze, okay.
Yeah, so funny thing, Urbane Bronze was another house that we just did. The color got denied twice,
Oh,
and then it got put on your approved list after it was approved. So,
is it really?
so I got another house down the road that we just final that is got that color, and I like it, and so I'm gonna roll with it.
Is it on the approved list, Susie?
Yeah.
Is Susie there?
It sure is.
All right.
Susie knows a little more about that. I had a
Yeah.
3-hour conversation with Noel about that as well. So that was an interesting story. But yes, Urbane Bronze 708 on your pre-approved list.
Okay, well then.
Then just a final comment about the asymmetrical overhang at the top.
Not looking very good. And maybe the porch roof would look better if it was sloped forward or something. I don't know why there's a door in the front because it looks like it steps down towards the garage. The walkway would go toward the garage, I would have thought. It looks like there's a step in the site plan.
I think I remember this one. I didn't vote for this one last time. I still don't like it.
No.
But
Anyway, that's just an aesthetic comment.
yeah. So are we done?
All right, well, I
Have we
move
made
to
it through?
approve pending comments.
Okay. Any second?
Sorry, who was that? Keith?
Yes.
It
And
was,
I'm trying to write down all the comments.
This Chad, I second.
Catch basin, 2 to 1 or flatter slopes. Come back with left and right elevations.
Remove and replant trees.
yes,
Replant.
definitely.
So it doesn't sound like there's anything in that list that would hold them up from starting then. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor with the
Wait.
included list.
We don't have a second.
Oh, we don't? Oh,
Who's
I'm sorry.
seconding?
I thought Chad seconded.
I thought Chad
Yep.
seconded.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I did.
Chad, okay. And
Chad, thanks so much for being here tonight.
yeah,
Yeah, no, sorry, I got quadruple booked this last couple of months. I had 2 jobs turning over, one job starting, and all the other stuff that goes along with my life. So 3 kids.
Glad to hear.
Yep.
okay. All right, so I guess we can vote.
Was that our total list then? Okay, all in favor with that included list, say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna
Anybody
abstain.
opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
Me too,
1 abstain. 2 abstains.
2 abstain.
Okay, I believe we have passed then because no one voted against it. And Joel, you got everything, you got a little work list to do there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Is it possible to add one last comment that says, since we've done this with this builder, don't bring us any more plans that aren't right, that don't work?
I got one more.
Well,
I'm doing my best to keep up with you guys, and I'm learning and taking notes and having long conversations with my architect, engineer, stormwater, and everything. It's a lot more difficult to relearn after you've been doing something for so long. So please bear with me and be patient.
Vitali, also bear with us. We do plan to change the language and you'll be able to apply year round. So
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate what you guys do and putting more thought into it. I think previous previously there was a lot more holes and we were doing stuff without having direction. Now we're having a lot more direction than maybe we're used to. We're trying to keep up. And so, like I said, I got one more that's been submitted that's drawn up a year ago. I have one more that I was going to submit. I didn't even submit because I'm completely redrawing it, because that one is a very unique one. And so I'm not even going to submit that one until I redo it. But these three, we
If
were
it is-
expecting to break ground in June, and we're scrambling just to keep our subs and architect and everything. It's quite difficult on our end. So I am trying. I'm not trying to just build stuff and get away with stuff. This has been a very difficult learning curve for me and adjusting. And the difficulty is that all permits are issued. So going back, changing anything means, with county at least, you
And that
pretty
brings
much
me
got
to
no
another
shot on building this year.
point. We would dearly love to see you guys submit in concept submittals for things that require, variances or are unusual.
And I've done that in the past. I've always, most of my difficult homes, and I got a couple other ones that are very, very difficult. I got together with the previous chair. I've submitted in concept, and so I've done that many times on different projects. These ones I haven't, because they didn't have as many of those issues, and I thought they would be okay. And the other thing, and this is not an excuse, but my first 3 or 4 homes that I did in Sun Valley, which I thought then was just the normal thing to do, all had height, setback, and lot coverage variances. And I was told, oh, easy, just submit a variance and you'll be fine. And I've never had any pushback. And so that's why this year we're really just changing things up and scrambling to keep up. And the very difficult part is changing plans that would make those changes on a county, because the permits have already been issued. And so I have one, and this one in particular, the one we're looking at right now, that's the one that county actually went back and gave me a conditional permit because of some of the changes that we're making and have made, because this one exceeded both the lot coverage and open space by a little bit, which again, not making excuses, but in the past I was told, hey, just submit a variance, you'll be okay. You're only off by 1% or 2%. And so that's what I've been used to, and I'm really changing things up and having these conversations. And a lot of anything that's after this one, I'm not even going to submit with a variance. It's going to be changed before it even gets to you guys.
Well, Vitaly, I thank you for your efforts, and I appreciate it.
And I appreciate your time, and I apologize for taking a long time, because you guys got a long list. So I appreciate it.
Are we gonna do 21 Lost Fork Lane in this meeting? Because I have not had a chance to look at the new plans.
I was heard we are not.
They came in pretty late.
So most of 21 Lost Fork, I made all the corrections that were the notes that we had.
That's
The
great,
only,
but we can deal with that at the next meeting, I think. I hope. I don't want to have to deal with it now.
Bruce, I would have to agree with that. I don't know how long the list is, but I heard we were not going to deal with this one tonight.
Yeah.
Oops.
Don't know what to say. The next actual scheduled meeting wouldn't be until August, unless we're putting in extra meetings again.
Well, how long is the list on this one, on the comments? I thought this one was deferred because it didn't meet anything.
We had nine comments on this one.
Were they
I
all
don't know
in-
how many comments because I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, Yeah.
I think we need to have a rule that, they have to, they're
Yeah.
supposed to submit a complete package 2 full weeks before the meeting. And so like 2 days before the meeting, there wasn't anything on the website. On the,
Yeah, Joel, I have to
Mhm.
agree that we need
Sure.
time to be able to review these plans and things like that before we can comment on them, let alone bring it
Sure,
up into
no.
a meeting.
Sure, no, that's fine. I was waiting on these plans back from, because this was one we looked at. I had comments from you guys and sent them to the builder, and I was hoping to get them earlier, last week Friday, and put them on the agenda, and I just got them I think yesterday. So and I know I think I said, hey, I got to take 21 Lost Fork off because I don't have anything back from the builder. But
Yeah,
given that, hopefully we can just address just these few comments to look at, and maybe it wouldn't be a big deal, but it's your call, of course.
it's Bruce's call tonight.
Okay. Bruce,
Can I just say one quick thing? The big issue with this one is the variance for the lot coverage. Everything else we've addressed. If you guys have time to review it before the next meeting, those things we've addressed. The biggest one is the open space. We're off by 2%. I'm most likely, if I am not able to get a variance, I don't see how it's possible for me to do all of this with my architect to make that significant of a change to even have a shot at doing it this year. Because the reason it takes me longer to get it back to you guys is because some of these changes I'm not able to make. I gotta wait for my architect and then whatever other engineer. And I'm already, and again, I'm not making excuses, just from where I sit, I'm already paying double and on this all day, every day for them to make these changes. My architect came back and said, I'm getting all these customers from years ago, houses that I drew up in Sun Valley that I'm making changes for. And so I don't have an option to go to a different architect, and I don't have access
we
to
need to
CAD.
move on.
And so at
And
this
the fact
point,
that this doesn't match your stormwater says that you actually made these changes recently,
so the
Yeah,
stormwater,
caused the variances.
Vitaly, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the time it takes you to get your architects and engineers in line to make the project correct for Sudden Valley or anywhere else, it really doesn't matter to us much. We have like a big agenda with a lot of new homes, and you need to have all these things in preparation ahead of time and prepared to present to us to get through knowing our requirements.
I would love to work with you. And I don't mean to be disrespectful either. I appreciate your guys' time. I've had 3 or 4 conversations with people in Sun Valley, and they come back to me saying, we're running on a skeleton crew. I can't get back to you with the answers you need. Better luck next week. I can't help you. And then the other thing is I have conversations with the previous GMs and ACC and chairs, and they're gone. And so I think this year it's a difficulty for you guys and me. I'm trying to make every effort possible to make this work. This particular house, even if we don't cover all the other things, in concept approval, I don't know how you want to call it. Do I have a shot at getting a variance for the coverage? I changed the other. I'm still at, I think, 2% over for the open space. If I fix all the other issues, give you ample time to review everything else, do you guys think I got a shot at getting that on the next meeting?
The next meeting? Of course, you
Yeah.
can submit for the next meeting, whatever you want.
Well, I've already submitted it, so I'm going to wait for the next meeting. But as far as the getting an in-concept approval, if we're just looking at this one thing and not looking at the other things on the list. But the biggest one with this one is the variance for the open space.
Did you say 40%?
It's a 6,300 square foot lot. I don't see why you need a variance for that. That's ridiculous, in my opinion.
They reduced the you guys reduced the property coverage to 49.98.
Correct.
There you go.
Well,
So you're
49.
just squeaking by, no room for the new owner to add anything on the lot coverage, and you're exceeding the house size.
By 2%.
I don't think
again-
so. I calculated it and it was quite a bit, I thought, but I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you.
So the house footprint is the house including the garage, that's 1780 square feet, right? Plus the roof, we're calling plus the roof overhang, is that right?
Yes.
So
On
our,
a 6,300 square foot lot, there should be no problem building a decent, sized house at 35%.
I don't think,
Nope.
I think we're there, are we? 1780 plus 288 equals 2,068 divided by 6,300 square feet. That only is, we're only at 30.
It looks the same as what we found out did not meet the requirements. I sent my spreadsheet, I think.
Yeah, Joel, you should have this right in front of you, exactly
If
as
if
lot
it
coverage.
meets them, then it doesn't need a variance, right? If it meets the requirements, it doesn't need a variance.
Right.
So we're not giving a variance, right? I mean, I don't get it.
I mean, I can go back and recalculate it.
Looks like we need more time for this. Push this until the next meeting. Yeah, we don't have time to keep going now. What else do we have for new construction?
We had,
Indian Ridge Court.
6 Indian Ridge.
Okay, other than the fact that there's no way you allow a white bodied house with black trim, what else needed was on that?
Uh,
I got the comments here. Right.
The driveway profile, it's not entirely clear. If they go straight up without warping it, then the one side will kind of exceed our 25%. The side away from the house. But they can warp it. They just kind of need to know that it's going to be a little weird.
Because we're at the steeper end of the slope, 13 degrees.
Because the roadway slopes down there,
Mhm.
and so that side,
So you're saying if they're gonna tilt the driveway?
yeah, because usually at the top, you want to meet the garage door flat, and the other side of the house too.
Mhm.
So, but they can slope so that the side that's up on the page there, kind of by the stormwater trench,
This corner.
that part's lower. So I think that will resolve, that can be resolved, basically.
Mhm.
And then the other issue is a serious one, but it's not their fault. Their whole frontage is filling in the ditch. It's
You talking
steep.
about, yeah.
It's not well covered with plants. It's kind of bare. It was,
Talking about here.
yeah, really hard to get up there.
So what does this fall under? Is this, I mean, it's the Sudden Valley right-of-way property.
It
The
is
owners are responsible,
for installing the culvert.
yeah, and maintaining. it.
Um,
Is that right? Susie, can you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we have Casey here. Can you, he's in on this. He's been sitting here the whole time.
And I want to thank him for an overall nice project, it looks to me.
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Casey, yep. we
There we
can hear you.
Okay, I had a quick question back about what you were saying about the driveway slope percentage.
Yeah.
So I'm on the landscape plan and it says that I only have driveway slope percentage. It shows in the emailed one that I sent you. It's crossed out, it says 3%, and then it says 13 degrees. Where are you guys coming up with the 20, what was it, 23%?
Yeah, so when you convert degrees to percentage, 25% is the maximum allowed. And that's equal to 14 degrees.
Okay.
13 degrees.
Would be with it, but what I do is I calculate based on the garage slab elevation
Okay.
and the edge of pavement elevation in the survey.
Okay.
So I actually calculate what it really would be.
I understand. All right. And then also on the on that part that you were mentioning about the eroding front portion of my property,
Yeah,
I talked with Joel and he had mentioned about doing a rockery or doing some form of retaining wall. And I also spoke with my operator of the excavator and he was talking about pulling back some of that dirt and putting in either a retaining wall or, if it's okay with you guys, putting in just along that face, the whole front of the property, doing like mulch with ferns planted in along the front of the property to help retain it. Would that be okay with you guys?
I don't think that would work because
No? Okay.
if that was going to work, that would have already happened. Nature would have made it work, would have made it happen.
Okay. So then maybe a retaining wall or rockery or some form of retaining wall blocks. Would that be acceptable for you guys?
I think so.
It probably makes it get some of the landscaping blocks in there to help for erosion control would probably handle it. I don't think you have to get too elaborate on that.
Do I need to update my plan then for where it says undisturbed natural vegetation, or is that just understood that it needed to be fixed?
Sounds like a lot of no opinion on that.
I'm trying to look and see where it says,
Undisturbed.
It sounds like an issue that started prior to my ownership of the property.
I think that's probably true.
Because nothing has changed on my property since I bought it, other than me staking it out, and I've had it for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that dates back to when they built the road myself.
Okay.
So it's a tricky question whether what we can ask you to actually do.
Well, and it sounds like without me building, the issue itself would not be fixed.
That's right.
So
Your culvert will have a hard time. See how much is the
whatever you recommend on the retaining wall face of the property, I'm okay with.
That would be lovely. And then your culvert, because right now the way your culvert is, my memory is that ditch is super shallow.
Yeah, it is.
And so you wouldn't really even have room to put a culvert under your driveway.
Correct.
Especially not with the 12 inches above it that we're supposed to have.
I believe I would have to dig it out in order to put the culvert in.
Yeah. Certainly the downslope neighbor's culvert is pretty well buried.
Would it be all right with you guys if I dug out that entire ditch along that roadway and made it deeper?
We'd kiss you. Well, you don't have to accept the kiss, but
He'd kiss you.
Because that's not an issue with me. Unlike the previous Vitali you were talking with, this is my first build, and I'm really am trying to learn everything all at once.
Yeah, personally, I really liked your layout. Looked like it was really nice. Looked like it's going to be a nice house. My only comment was you did not include cutting down one very curved-based cedar on the left side of your house. It's got a huge scar on it that's going to be rotting in there. That's going to be a hazard tree next to your house. I would personally remove that while you had the chance.
Out of curiosity, is that one, when you guys did your on-site review, is that one tagged or no?
No, that one
No.
was not tagged.
And
It was-
you want me to take it out?
I would if I were you. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to force you to do it, but it's you can tell it's a very curved butt on the thing, and it has a scar going all the way up and down into the heartwood.
As
Which
some,
one is it?
That's going to be a hazard tree for you.
We'd recommend that it be removed.
as somebody who has had a tree fall on my wife's car, I am all for removing a tree that's going to fall on somebody's house.
Yeah, if you walk out there, you'll notice that there's a very distinctive curved base on it, and it's got this huge scar going up the backside.
Understood. It'll be removed.
Now, if he was to dig down his culvert and lower it, does that really change the water flow?
It would improve it.
Well, what about where it enters his property?
That's the cul-de-sac. There's three concrete driveways, or at least the neighbor on that side has a concrete driveway and not much property on the other side of it. And there's no culvert there on theirs because they're at the end of the road, at the high end.
I just envision it filling up with water and being stagnant.
No, it
That's why
slopes
you'd have to
down.
go-
It slopes down towards lot 201 there. And 201 has a culvert that's mostly buried. That neighbor to the up top of the page, which is the downhill side.
Mhm.
Their culvert is now mostly buried, so it's been there a little while. So this would improve their culverts, the functioning of the whole thing.
All
And
right.
the build would add a little bit of water from the driveway. Right now, it's kind of muddy where the so-called ditch, it really just looks sort of like the shoulder to me, is.
Just so you guys know, that ditch is so not really a ditch that's usually where me and my subcontractors have been able to park because that road there is kind of narrow.
Yep.
That's how much it's not really a ditch, more of like a dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shoulder. It's supposed to be a ditch, though.
It sounds like a temporary parking job followed by cleaning it out at the end, right?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Oh. Okay, so do we have anything else on this one? Other than the fact that you
Oh, the
really
body
wanted a
color.
white house? Did I read that correctly?
I'm from South Carolina, and White House dark trim has always been a thing that I've grown up on. If it's not something you guys will approve, then I can come back with new colors once a week until you guys give me the okay.
Why don't you make it easy on us and just take a look at the pre-approved colors that Susie spent a lot of time on getting, that's designed to work with forested settings, and pick one of those. Then you don't have to come back to us.
I thought that I had, and that was where I pulled those colors from. I didn't see where it separated the trim and body colors. So
There's separation.
maybe I just missed it. I'll double check. But
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
White's
I
a
will-
trim color only.
Say again.
White is a trim color only.
Okay.
And there's another really light colored one that's a trim only.
Is there any not approve trim colors, and maybe I'll just reverse what I have there and just do cyberspace as the body and white for the trim.
Uh,
Now you're being difficult.
I don't think cyberspace is cyberspace an approved color?
Say
Is it
again.
really?
Cyberspace.
Cyberspace is an approved color.
There it is.
an approved color.
Cyberspace gray.
Okay,
Well, then you don't even need our approval.
yeah.
I respectfully disagree. I still do.
Well, for the colors, you don't.
These are pre-approved. So technically. And then
See this right here where you guys have it.
Yeah.
If
Those
you-
are all correct, okay.
That's the part that had me lost. Why I didn't understand that it was just a trim color, because it didn't have like a thing written above it that says trim
Yeah.
color.
If you look in our policies, the appendix O is the approved coat list, and it does say trim only.
Yeah, Joel sent that after I had sent that to you. Well, he sent it to me probably.
the old ones.
That's
I
the
just
old one.
probably missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that confusion.
No, that was probably me not reading properly.
No, good
Yeah.
point. It could be clearer.
Mhm.
It's just interesting for us to follow the guides that say it's a subdued color that blends into the landscape, and you'll never see a big white house subdued blending into a landscape in a forested setting. So
Also, I don't know if Joel mentioned it to you guys, but about the paint chips, Sherwin-Williams right now is not giving out paint chips because of a paint shortage.
There's a
Correct.
a paint chip emergency. It's true.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you guys had heard that or not, but I remember it was highlighted, in bold, whatever, saying that it had to be a paint chip. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
know about that.
Hilarious. More to blame on COVID.
Yeah. Well, if it's an approved color, we don't need a paint chip anyway.
No,
Mhm.
So are we acting on here that we're gonna change the wording on this to show that that we're putting the color so the light's acting as trim then?
Yes, we'll note it in the
Okay.
letter.
Okay, let's make sure we note that. Is there anything, it doesn't sound like there's anything holding us up on this one?
no.
Can we go ahead and someone make a motion?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor, say aye.
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 I heard
Aye.
3, are we missing anybody? 4, okay.
If only
All-
it could all be that easy.
Anybody?
thank you all very much.
I don't think so. Okay, so it's been approved, unanimous, and Susie can take it from here, and Joel, it's all yours.
Thank you, Casey. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
And do we have any other new construction? I mean, there's that 18 Rose Ridge loop that I never saw. anything.
Yeah, what
No,
happened was
either.
we put a temporary link in here that went to just, because when we were doing when Susie was printing the packets out, we had a link just to the copy of the one site plans. That's why there's these comments like just one plan sheet. And that link didn't get updated to the right file. So it is in there now.
I haven't had a chance to look.
So
at
we just
this.
haven't had time to look at it.
Next meeting.
I know.
Yeah.
Are we going to try to sneak in another meeting next week for whatever little leftover construction we got?
I wanted to talk to you guys
I'd
about
love to.
that. I think that we should do that for various reasons, which I will talk to you all about later. But I do think we should get another meeting in and maybe vote on some language as well, the 90-day language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's punt this until the next meeting. Was there any other, that's all our new construction, isn't it?
I hope so. I think so.
Okay, are we ready to start with, let's hit our tree requests. We
Hey,
have,
thank Joel, appreciate it.
Bye,
Yeah.
Joel. Good night.
Hi,
Thank you, guys.
Joel. Thanks. So let's aim real quick. We had 3, 4, 5 says it needs discussion. Oh, that's because we're kicking off, 5 and 6 is a repeat, so we're not worried about those. So I think we had,
Are they repeats or additional trees they'd like to have removed?
no,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
It's the
Same
same
I'm
one.
exact thing.
I'm so sorry about that, guys. I really appreciate you not giving me a hard time this week. It's been a kind of chaos in the office. So
No,
Okay,
I'm gonna give you a hard time when I get back.
okay. So on number 4, 137 Windward Drive, Karen, you did not mark approved. Is there something you wanted to say on that?
Is 8 Topside Court?
No,
No,
we got
37
oh, yeah,
Woodward.
we got needs discussion on 8 Topside. Okay, let's take a look at that
Oh.
one.
Okay.
I don't understand what Christopher Hunsaker is doing here. I don't know who else looked at it. It was like at the bottom of the slope behind the houses. And there's a flat grassy area, probably part of the golf course or something. I don't know what that is. And, you know, if this previous arborists have said to me that big leaf maples naturally grow in multi-trunked. It's rare to have a single trunk, and they're fine that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he even points it out as tree health 5/5. That's the best you can get. So I don't understand why he's recommending removal.
What's the damage? Construction very rich.
Well, here's the problem I have with that, and I kind of sent that out on an email. Anytime an arborist comes in and recommends that a tree be removed, I have a hard time with us as a committee saying or not agreeing with that. And then does that leave us open to liability? Should something happen to a tree that was supposed to be removed?
Yes.
I think if they read,
Short answer is yes.
but if they read the actual report, if the court read the actual report, they'd be like, well, really?
Doesn't matter.
Because the report doesn't.
Who's speaking right now?
That's
Is that
Chad.
Chad? Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. If you have a recommendation from an arborist and then we deny it and something happens with the tree, we're going to be 100% liable.
That's the problem I have with it. So anytime
You're essentially going against the word of what would be an engineer for a building as an arborist, right? That's their job. He has
that's
a
the way I
degree.
felt about it. You got a certified arborist telling us it needs to be removed and we vote against it. Are we liable now? Should something happen?
Yeah, I believe we would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, let's vote for that one since we didn't have everybody hit the approve button. Now, Chad, you didn't hit any of the votes, the pre-votes here, so I'm just gonna assume you're.
Oh, let me hop on there real quick. I can go look at it.
I'm just gonna kind of ignore yours on that, I guess.
Yes. I didn't go look at my own document that I made.
Yeah, everybody else is starting to use it the way you designed it, so.
Perfect.
Hey, and Bruce, thanks for that reminder, man. I appreciate you sending that out.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so let's vote on the 8 Topside Court. Did we do that? All
No.
I
approved?
move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention. Everybody else vote forward.
got it.
Okay, 137 Windward Drive. We
Move
have
to approve.
approving except that Karen did not. She likes the maple. And I talked to him and I mean, the maple is fine. It just, they say it's really dirty and whatever, and it's getting all over the roof and whatever, but so.
It's actually helping protect that slope. They should be planting more plants on that slope. It's really loose dirt.
Oh, we could move to approve with replanting.
Or move to approve except the maple.
Again, was it in the arborist report?
Nope. No arborist report.
They do not have an arborist report on this one.
Okay.
So anybody want to make a motion?
Move to approve everything except the maple removal.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
I
I got a quick question. I only got my notes with me, and I have that listed as had a report with it. Did it not?
I don't
Not
have
one,
it in my package.
I didn't see one for 137.
Okay.
It said that it is dropping branches on their roof.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, and that it gets leaves and stuff. It seemed to be
Yeah.
further in the house than what I would think it would do, but
It's like every tree here, right?
yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
And what's
All
a
right.
branch? You know, where people.
Yeah.
There could
I
be.
had one take out my barbecue grill a couple years ago.
Could
All right, I'll
we
go with aye.
request an arborist report?
So we currently have 2 people approving, and I'm waiting to see if anybody more is approving that.
Can we request an arborist report on the maple?
So we've passed it with everything except the maple, and then if they want to cut the maple,
We need an arborist
they
report.
need an arborist report.
Very
Yes.
good.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm afraid to ask for arborist reports anymore.
Yeah.
I'd rather not put that in.
Well, all it does is means they care enough about it to pay some money to get it done. That at least shows some initiative on their part. Okay, we've got 16 Orchid Court. We've got full approval. Next.
Oh, wait, did we
55
vote?
Sutton Valley Drive. We have all
on
approved.
on the spreadsheet, everything, all the votes are in there already.
Yep. So we got all county, so it just needs county permits on
Wait.
those.
On 137 Windward Drive, did we vote? I don't remember.
Yes.
137 Windward Drive, we voted and it was all but the maple, and if they needed the maple, it was
That was unanimous?
come back.
I
Hey,
thought that it was unanimous.
I had a 3. I don't know. I didn't see Chad's hand.
I
Yeah,
thought he said aye.
I said aye.
Okay, all right.
Bruce, shouldn't all these be pending county approval and whatnot?
They're
Yeah.
always gonna be, as long as they're big enough, and that's what I
Right.
went and looked at the one, is to make sure that they're size-wise required a county permit.
Perfect, yeah.
And some of these almost make it sound like they're not, but when I measured them, they were big enough to require a county. Okay, let's go down to 15 Sigma Circle. This one has a whole bunch of needs. And as far as I can tell, all the trees they're talking about is not on their land. It's all
Yeah.
in Pleasant Valley.
And when I was talking to the lady, I don't think she understood that she applied to pay to cut them down herself.
Yeah, so I think that there was a little mix up with a new person in the front office, and she was just handing out ACC forms for, I think, all tree removals, which is not good. And I spoke to her about it. So I think that we will cease to see these. If they tell me it's on private property, I tend to believe them because it's on their dime. So now we know that they are mistaken a little bit, and we are looking out for that. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so on this one, we're just denying because it's not on them and they can worry about it later.
I'll second that.
Yep, and I'll throw it onto the master list for SVCA trees to be looked at.
Yeah, they all look good to me, I'm afraid.
They all look dead?
No, they look fine.
Oh,
But we'll let someone else deal with that. Okay, we're going down to, so we had a motion and a second for denying, and all in favor of denial, say aye.
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 Yeah, okay, that passed, and I guess I must have been the one that made that motion, but
You did.
okay, we're down to 9 Inglewood Place. And that's all approved, except Karen didn't mark that as approved.
I wanted to approve, but they have to replant at least one because that's their last native tree. Their only native tree. In the front yard, they have a couple pines. In the backyard, they have just that tree.
Okay, so anybody want to make a motion?
Move to approve with Karen's comments.
With
Okay, with replanting
replanting,
native tree, huh?
replanting another fir or cedar or something.
Peter, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, was there a second? I'm sorry. Karen, I assumed you seconded that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 That's passed. Next. We're looking at, which one did we just do? We did
9 Inglewood.
did Inglewood, Bramble Way is all approved. That passes. 34 High Cliff Lane. No. This one looks like a lot of blanks and stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I visited, it looked like, I mean, I don't remember if I counted exactly, but it looked like they actually literally drew each little tree in there. There were 4 little firs, that maple, and the one hemlock was all ribboned. So they really should have put the number in the line, but their sketch shows how many.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's good enough.
I think my comment on
Whose property was it? Is it all their property?
It is.
Yeah, it stretched out.
what size are these trees? Do they need?
The diseased hemlock is decent size, but the others are fairly small. The maple is a little bigger than the firs. I didn't measure them though.
There was one of the conifers in their group of small ones there that measured out to be 12.09 inches.
Wow, okay.
So
Damn, dude. Do you have a micrometer?
And the maple wasn't that small, right?
and the maple was the maple was big enough to clear the requirement too. That was 11.4 inches.
Yeah.
So they need a county permit.
And I would like them to keep that maple. It looked nice to me.
Mm.
Well, if it's just blocking sunlight, that's not really an excuse to take it out.
It's also weird because that's so far away from the house, and they're
Yeah.
not that tall. I think their sunlight is being blocked by some other trees.
I thought they were just cleaning up the small stuff that there are larger trees around there that
Yeah.
so I just thought they were cleaning up the small stuff that was underneath.
They say they're blocking the sunlight, but what they have ribbon does not block their sunlight. So
Yeah. It's
go
nowhere near
figure.
the house. Nowhere near the house. But okay, so we have a motion. And personally, I could see them all going. Just removing little maples when there's other large trees around is not a problem for me. But
Well, that maple, that whole area there, if they remove all those trees, then that's kind of a slope there with no trees at the
Okay.
top.
so
So
anybody want to make a motion?
approve,
Move.
except the maple,
Go ahead.
just like the last one, subject to county
Replant.
permit. Oh, Keith,
So we had some competition there. I heard Karen make a motion saying approve the removal except for the maple. Any second?
Keith is the second.
is he?
I didn't second that. I was thinking about it.
Oh, I thought you had earlier.
No,
That
I
was a
was
different
thinking motion move to approve and replanting of something. A totally different motion.
Yeah, to me, there's enough large trees there. That's not a big issue there.
Well, it was sparse, right? And right in that area, they were kind of removing everything.
Yeah, they're taking all the small stuff out, but there were some taller trees right around there, wasn't there?
All right.
Do we have to vote on Karen's motion first?
It depends upon if anybody seconds it or not. So far, it's
Mhm.
dying because of lack of a second.
Okay.
Well, I'll
Okay.
second Keith's then. But what do they replant?
I don't know if Keith really made the motion. He was thinking about it. So
Okay.
Yeah, I
where
was
are we?
thinking about it. That's right. I
Tom,
moved
you
to
want to make
approve
a
it as
motion
it was
here?
submitted.
So remove all of them
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to remove all of them?
and replant?
No replanting.
So motion to remove all. Is there a second? Come
Second.
on, guys. Okay,
Dad?
Chuck seconded. All in favor, say aye.
I
I'll go along with it.
Okay, we got 3. Karen, is it you a no or an abstention?
I'll just abstain.
Got
Okay,
it.
got it.
Oh, just say no if you don't want to say yes, Karen. Come on.
All right, it doesn't really matter, so.
It doesn't.
Put me down
Okay,
whichever.
so now we're at 16 Topper Drive. And it's approved except for Karen, says it needs discussion.
Yeah, I talked to the owner and she didn't even know which trees. She didn't sign the application. She hadn't even seen it. She said she was good with removing whatever trees, but she didn't actually know.
She the homeowner or?
And the trees were not ribboned. Yeah, she
Yeah,
was the owner.
So I did talk to Christopher about this one. He heard that the trees weren't ribboned and that it was a problem. So he's going to make sure that every tree is ribboned for you. As far as her not seeing her own application, there's a lot of residents in Sudden Valley at this point that are unable to always do all of their own paperwork for house requests that they have to take care of at their home. So Christopher does it as
Yeah,
a
this lady
pleasant.
was able because she lives there. She lives across the street and her parents live in this home.
Yeah, I don't go into the particulars of why Earthworks sometimes does these applications, but they do know our rules and they are trying to follow them. So,
And our rules require the owner to sign the form.
So it looks
Yeah,
like
I got moved to
she's
approve.
recommended all for removal.
Okay, Keith made a motion.
Yeah, I did. Move to approve as submitted.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay,
I'll third.
motion and first, and we got a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed?
That's me.
Okay. And Susie, can you look into if there's gonna be any problem with make sure that the owner knows that she's responsible even though she didn't sign the paperwork?
Absolutely.
Okay. So now what's 13 on the screen is number 14. I'll try to change my
17
numbers. as I
Windward
go.
Drive.
Change Susie's numbers as I go down here.
I'm so sorry.
17 Windward Drive, we got full approval.
Move to approve.
Passed.
Yeah, they don't need to
Second.
apply.
If everybody pre-approved everything, I'm walking right down the list. Number 15.
Hey, I got a quick question on that, Bruce. Even though we pre-approved online, formally, do we still have to make a motion? And
And vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to?
I think we can approve by acclamation, and that means that you just say that you all approve it.
okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, we were doing that with Noel.
And I
Yeah,
have another question for Susie. I guess you were too busy to notice, but they picked only pre-approved colors. So their letter should say, either they shouldn't even get a letter, just a phone call, or their letter should say, when they pick the colors off that list, they really don't need to bother us.
Okay, but in our current language, it says that they
Yeah.
still have to put a form in.
It
Yeah,
does?
yeah,
I would.
yeah.
I
So
would
Susie
agree
can
with
give
that.
them approval. They can start painting right away, but it still needs to go through us real quick just for ratification to say, yep, we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I don't want
So-
somebody coming back and saying, well, I thought they were pre-approved colors.
Ah, okay.
So we can run through this and I'm going to assume that we pass by acclamation, anything where we've got everybody that's got it marked as approved.
Okay.
Number 14, 17 Windward Drive. Number 15, T Place. Number 16, 35 Windward Drive. Number 17, looks like needs work. Number 17 is a Dover white for the body.
Deny the Dover white. Move to deny Dover
No.
white.
We do not do white body, so that's a straight denial. And Susie, see if you can talk them into doing something else. Actually, I shouldn't just say that. Does anybody move to deny?
I did.
Second,
Is there a second?
Why does their form say Pussy Willow on it?
Because they probably used the wrong Sherwin-Williams HOA option. Sherwin-Williams is taking 4 to 6 weeks to correct an error they made by posting 2 pre-approved lists for Sudden Valley.
Hmm.
Oh, that could be where some of our problems are. And so do we have everybody in favor of denial, say aye?
And we're okay with the other colors, right?
Yeah.
We
it's
want to
just
make sure they know what the problem is.
So anybody saying aye other than me?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that one's been denied. Anybody opposed? Anybody want to keep the Dover white body? Okay, so next, number 18, 59 Windward Drive, all approved. 19, 16 Bow Court, all approved. 20, 19 Fair Lane, all, there's a needs discussion by Keith. What do we got, Keith?
I had black trim question mark. Also I have down here all 3. They have a roof, deck, and it looked like deck maintenance is what I wrote down, and the colors. They had like 3, I guess, items on their application.
Yeah, but roof replacement is maintenance if they're not
Yeah,
changing.
that's
anything.
correct. That's what I put, maintenance.
Yeah,
That was all I had.
okay.
So you want to change yours to approve?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're throwing that into the same category as the other ones. And then, okay, number 21, 23 Par Lane, approved. 22, 31 Marigold Drive, abstain, deny, needs directions. Okay. This one, somebody tell me what's going on here.
I put down my notes. It just says SBCA approval needed.
They're wanting to fill in their ditch.
Okay.
Culvert.
I'm sorry. I'm on vacation, so all I got is my little note sheet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually talked to them on that. He's expecting this not to make it. Because I mean, it is all on Sudden Valley, and it looks like it's an active ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do
Uh-oh.
this in front of my house too. Can we approve this to set a precedent?
So do we have a motion on this one?
yeah, I think I had a comment there that how much grass do they want to grow?
Yeah, I also brought that up to him too. I told him to come back when he could, if he wants to put in some landscaping block there to match up against his driveway and stuff, to come back with that kind of request. And he's rethinking the thing direct. So, but in the meantime, where are we at?
Motion to deny.
Motion denied. Do we have a second?
Second,
All
Who
in
was that?
favor of denial, say aye.
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 All approved, all opposed. Thank you. It has been denied. Okay, we now have number 23. Paint request is fully approved. 24, paint request is, Karen, you did not.
Oh, because
say-
I was trying to say that they shouldn't bother us, but
Oh,
I
approved.
changed that
Okay.
to approve. Approve, okay?
Okay.
So it's one of those unanimouses.
So 25. We're in 25 now? Oh, Susie, you snuck ahead of me and changed the numbers. Okay, 25. We've got Little Strawberry Lane approved. Exterior alteration and request is fully approved. So acclamation on those. 27, 31 Sudden Valley Drive exterior alteration request. We've got a needs discussion. Okay, let's go over that.
The way they laid it out with their ropes, I thought it looked pretty good. It doesn't encroach on anything.
The only note I had was coverage issues, lot coverage.
Actually, I did kind of calculate that. I wasn't exact on it because the lot has a curve, but they should be good. They're still in there.
Should be.
50%.
Yeah, and they're posing this as a fire life safety issue.
All
And they are in there 50%, I believe.
right, I'll change mine to approve.
Okay. And Karen, do we need to vote on it? Karen doesn't have hers marked either.
Oh, because I was intending to check the lot coverage and I never got back to it. Change
You wanna
mine
change
to
it
approve.
Okay. Acclamation on that one. 15 Sigma Circle. They want a fence on Sudden Valley property right along the road.
Actually, I talked to that lady, and if she is indeed planning a short split rail fence, like with only the one rail, that could be something that's not a big hazard to traffic. And like if you hit it, I don't know how much damage it would do. And it would be easy to, as long as she understands that Sudden Valley Maintenance might remove it. She has neighbors who walk their dogs, I guess, and she says she keeps discovering dog poop in her front yard, and it's very unpleasant. And she has little kids who play there and so on, and so I kind of empathize with that.
That's what paper bags and dog front porches are for.
Yeah, she isn't always sure who it is.
So my question would be on that, because I did read that, is a split rail going to stop that? And two, is it require SVCA's approval?
I don't know, but we could certainly put that in.
Yeah, I mean, deer will not step over a 30-inch fence.
I think dogs will, I mean, they don't care about deer. It's the dogs that bother them.
Yeah.
And I think if someone is walking their dog on a leash, then that would help. But if they're not on a leash, then
Well, even if it's on a leash and they're not picking up their dog shit, it's a problem.
yeah. But I mean, if they're walking the dog on a leash, they probably won't let the dog go behind the fence.
Mhm.
I don't know.
My personal point is though, is I do not like to see people take over and claim Sudden Valley property. That's common area to all of us. So if she knew where her front property line was and kept it on her own property, I could actually see that without a setback requirement, a short little, but to put it up against the road on Sudden Valley property, which is basically land that belongs to all of us, I personally will not go for that one.
I can agree with that.
Well, if it falls within the category of landscaping, I did also suggest to her that she could try some landscaping, like some bushes or something. Because people do plant in the right of way, and the policies allow that, as long as we all know that it could disappear someday. So, okay, so if we don't want to approve it, that's fine.
Yeah, because I couldn't figure out where the front corners were.
We could disapprove, that's okay. I mean, I did give her some other suggestions.
Or just to prove it with, she has to get her lot line measured out.
Yeah, move it back to the property line. That's
I
fine.
think she knows, yeah, she knows where her property line is, but she's trying to protect her grass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
So maybe we could deny pending variance request and SBCA approval.
We could just deny, and then
Well,
she
I
just
wouldn't
thinks
even-
about
I
what
wouldn't
other
even go
choices.
for pending SVA approval. I'm not going to go for putting fencing on Sudden Valley property. It would have to, the fence would need to go in on her own property, and she'd have to know where her corners were for me to go for it.
Okay. Do we have a new motion?
Yeah, if she puts in fence posts, it's just gonna give the dog something else to pee on.
You won't mind that.
Yes. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
I'll second and deny.
Okay,
I think Bruce is allowed to move, right?
Yeah.
good. All in favor of denial? Say aye.
Hey,
I,
Okay.
Okay, it's passed. Is there anybody opposed? Chad, I didn't see your hand.
No, I said deny. I'm
Okay.
changing my stuff as we go.
Okay, got it. Oh, good. Yeah.
got this one.
Okay, we're at 71 Sudden Valley Drive. Chad says deny. We got an abstain and needs discussion. I'm
I would
wondering
deny
about
it just
coverage.
because of the irritating way they submitted it. I mean, what do we got? 8 pictures of the same thing?
and no sketch with dimensions.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this is one you have to look at the printout because it's the link doesn't go to the right place.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, the 15, that's why I said deny, because we had already denied that one. So I haven't looked at this one yet.
yeah.
This is one you have to look at the sheet.
We
Okay.
have no idea about impervious surface coverage.
Yeah, I did that one. It's in my comment section.
You did the calcs?
Yeah. And it boils down to, it depends whether their gravel walkway is open space or not.
Yeah, I talked to them on that too. Their design on that walkway was interesting though. It's just it's basically a steel holder and then they're filling it with pea gravel so that drainage is not going to be a problem at all through that. That and their patios that they have is just supposed to be set on the rock. It's not going to be cemented in. So hopefully it's not a drainage problem there either.
Actually, hard surfaces are in our definition, all hard surfaces. And I think, you know, if there's just little gaps between the units, that's not enough to change it from impervious to pervious.
That's actually what they've done to make create pervious driveways is the gaps in there and
But
collecting them.
pervious driveway is not a open space. Does not count as open
Lake
space.
to the gaps, you know, if it's a 6-inch gap between stones or, you know,
Yeah.
pores, that would certainly help. But just narrow gaps, I would agree with Karen, that's not impervious.
Yeah.
And I'd actually throw
But the
that,
main thing I noticed. Okay, I'm sorry. The main thing I noticed on that in discussion there is the patio itself is going to be is going to be a smaller footprint than the deck they tore out.
That's actually not true.
It's not.
No, but it comes out less far on the side, but comes out further to the front. So it's going to be like a quarter circle starting from the corner of the garage, is the way she
Mhm.
described it, coming around to that bump out. So it's about the same overall, maybe even a little more.
Okay,
And the
that's-
deck is definitely bigger than the one they had before.
the deck. You mean the one below the deck?
The one in the back. The deck they already built without asking for permission.
Oh, is that, I thought that was a pre-existing.
That's what they said, but when I looked it up online on the county assessor's website, that is not true. And I was suspicious when I was visiting because they had all these new foundations.
Mhm.
You know, the new concrete foundation is not necessary if you're just repairing rot.
Did they have it laid out, staked out and everything?
The deck they already built.
No, and this new
But
patio.
the patio, no, they did not.
The
She
patio.
told me what it was verbally.
Yeah, the patio in back was just going to be directly underneath the footprint of the deck.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the one in the front, I understood it wasn't really, that was actually going to be a little smaller than what the previous deck was that they tore out. So I didn't have a problem with it with the definition we had as far as whether they changed the footprint of their deck or not in the back. I really don't know.
It's interesting on my notes. I have moved to approve, but then I have a star next to it. So I'm not sure why I put the star there.
So if their walkways are open space, which I don't believe they would be, but that's my opinion. I think anything where there's traffic, that's why steps are included in the definition. Where there's traffic, you're beating down the ground underneath. You're making it less absorbent. And, you know, it's not really open space anymore. Plus, no plants can grow there. But that's just my personal opinion because the
But
definition is,
are they still less than the open space requirement? Or have they gone over?
if the gravel walkways on both sides of the house, if they count as open space, then they sneak by. They've got like 80 square feet left or something like that. They're okay. But if those are not open space, then they exceed it.
And that's where they wanted to do like a pea gravel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because right now it's mud going down between the.
Yeah.
Actually, what they must have been, they're saying they're already walking there, but on the one side, it's clearly not something a toddler could possibly do. So they must be trespassing while they're walking past their house on that side.
Is this the stone color? Is that an accurate picture? Is it really blue and gray?
Yeah, is that the one blue? Right.
I'd throw that in the category of blues versus blue houses.
I don't know if anybody would really see it though.
Yeah, probably not. It's not something I'd put down.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to move to approve as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Well, if they're under open, if they're okay on open space, I'll second.
Wait, Keith moved. Who seconded?
I did.
Oh,
Okay, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
And, okay, Steve, Chad, I assume I thought I heard you in there.
Yep.
So we got unanimous, passed.
but if Susie could put a warning in their letter that they have no open space left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I'll give them a warning.
And may have exceeded it.
Is there a reason that we printed up all these identical documents?
They sent those in that way. I deleted them off of the digital request.
But didn't we had to reprint them though, didn't we? But it's just a waste of paper.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's a sequential issue and they just didn't get pulled out.
Okay.
Okay, number 30, 18 Clematis Lane. This is a location for their natural gas,
Propane.
their propane
Propane tank.
tank.
Yeah. Okay, quick question. What are they using now?
They don't have one.
So they have no gas, no propane, no natural gas there.
Right,
No.
they have electric only, but they bought it recently and the wife is very unhappy that they only have an electric range.
All right.
Did you talk to him,
I did.
Aaron?
I talked to the guy, he was there. He understands that,
Well, the main thing,
that his property corners
yeah.
would need to be located for, actually for all of those locations. Because
Also,
like
just
doing-
do they could do the 2 smaller tanks against the side of the house.
I suggested it.
Yeah.
That would be a lot easier.
And he's thinking about that.
The location looks awfully close to the access road. You know, I'm thinking concrete bollards or something to protect it from traffic.
Yeah, I mean, the other lots are undeveloped off that, but at least one, I think, could be sold and developed.
So quick question, should we defer until he actually has a location that he wants, or is he looking to us to get a location?
Well, I'd like
Yeah.
to say, I'd like to let him kick it back at least without that. His favored location is way on Sudden Valley. And I don't think we put propane tanks on property that isn't his.
Did you
You
find
know,
the-
that is something that used to occur a lot, I think, with constructions, is that they would find a way to put the propane tanks on or the utilities on Sudden Valley land, but we are definitely trying to avoid that because it complicates life so much.
Yeah. So Bruce, did you find the corners?
Well, I just, on this one here, I went to the city IQ so I could figure out where it was. And I mean, it's not even close to the road. It's way up there. We're looking at the property line going almost all the way up to there. If you can see my, but it's
Wow.
I see it.
way up
Wow.
there. So it's not even close
So
on
he
that
doesn't
side.
have
So
a
that
20
only
foot-
leaves his 2 that he didn't really like.
So the house doesn't even have the 20-foot.
I would think it would have to, but I don't know.
It is more than 20 feet down to the pavement, but anyway.
So are we either denying or deferring?
I would say defer and let them choose a new location.
See, if you take a look at the if you're on the ACC spreadsheet, if you go to my the add info tab and scroll down, you can see what the city IQ had for their location for their corners, and they have been really accurate with really pretty close to the correct locations for their property lines and stuff that I found.
Are
Yes,
there
we do.
setback requirements for propane tanks from roads?
What?
God, I would hope.
Yes. Yes. There's
From the-
there's a few different types of utilities. I'll send you all the language on that after this meeting.
Okay, that sounds good.
You know, they can
Okay.
always bury a tank.
Yeah,
It still has to be on his property.
it still needs to be on his property though.
Oh, true.
So,
Talk him into the 2 little tanks next to the house. But right now is.
I tried
prime
that.
location I would deny.
should we deny with comment explaining the? And if Susie could tell them what the setback rules are
And I'll second Bruce's motion.
to deny?
Yeah.
On favor of denial, and that's
I,
what I'm looking at is denial on that his primary position. I'm not sure whether we have a denial on the other 2 locations, do we?
Well, it's hard because he gave us like 3 locations. You pick and choose where you want it.
Yeah,
Well, I think we would need to know the property corners have them marked there, and whatever setback is required from an access road, they would have to know
So,
about.
so maybe our denial's based on that, and Susie puts that in her letter. We need property
Okay.
corner locations and such.
The other locations along Sun Valley Drive there.
On Clematis Lane?
Clematis Lane, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the one Bruce really wanted to deny the most.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to kill because it's way on the Sudden Valley property and it's not on his.
And the access road is either Sudden Valley property or I don't know how those are dealt with. It's a Keyway one. Looks
Yeah.
like. I don't know if the surrounding owners share ownership or if that's Sudden Valley.
So,
Deny and find a location away from roads.
okay, so that's our motion. We got it first week. It's been made, it's been seconded. All in favor of denial, say aye.
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 And anybody opposed? Okay, it's been passed unanimously.
Looks like they could go underneath that deck.
It's been denied unanimously. Someone talk them into the little tanks. It'd be simplified life for 'em.
Just a quick thing on, I know there was a question, I think 2 rounds ago on if pervious pavers count towards the open space. And if, as long as it is a pervious pavement system or like a pervious pavement grass system, it does not count against the 50% open space. So as long as it's a porous ground, it's in our ACCs, it says a porous ground cover.
So a porous
Where?
ground cover still counts as open space.
Yep.
Where the policy number is it?
I was thinking I saw something like that.
14.5.1 C. Such space shall be maintained with porous ground cover and no parking or storage of material shall be permitted in the open space. So like a pervious pavement patio or a pervious pavement walkway is fine.
Yeah, I used to have that by my house to get firewood delivered so they could back the truck up next to my house. And so it was concrete. They had open centers in it. You had grass, you mowed it. And
Yep.
that way they could drive their truck up there. It wouldn't crush a lot of fire departments use that too. For
Yeah, well, and
access.
they make whole paver systems now where either you have 3/4 to 1 inch spacing between it that crushed rock goes into, or the whole paver itself is pervious, and you can pour a 5-gallon bucket of water on a 2x2 paver, and the whole bucket will go through the paver.
Yeah, exactly.
Problem with those is they clog in this area. They clog really quickly. That's why the folks.
Yeah.
that-
I'm gonna have to check those. I still got a couple of other family items I have to resolve this evening. So
Yeah.
Okay, so
see you later.
Hi, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Tom.
We are down to 31 paints, all approved except for Karen said it's pre-approved. Okay. That's passed. 32 Clematis Lane deck. That obviously needs work.
I just had a lot coverage issue on that. I wasn't sure.
Wait, 9 Clematis Lane?
9 Clematis Lane.
Oh, yeah, no, Joel confirmed that that's the deck setback that we already approved when we approved their new build.
Okay, then I'm okay with it then. If I'm the only one holding up.
This is on the new construction.
Odd that this is in. I don't know.
He said that they had made a mistake on their first form in the address. and
Oh,
They resubmitted it because they had edited the 7 to a 9. which you
well
can
then,
see.
the paperwork is now considered complete, everybody. All
Yeah.
right.
So is this something we need to vote on, or is it?
I think we already voted, and we voted with the new construction, so we had the right address.
Yes.
Okay. So we just basically stick it down as everybody's approving this thing, and Susie can do whatever she wants to clean it up.
Okay.
Next one is number 33, 148. That's all approved. 34, 16 Gray Birch Lane. Those two have been switched as far if you're looking at the link. So just play with that accordingly.
Okay, they have nothing marked. They weren't there. They hadn't moved in yet, actually. They didn't show where their boulders were gonna go or what the dimensions of their steps were gonna be, or, I think we need to defer for more information on the, those things.
Oh, this was, yeah, I had this is a Vitality again?
Well, it's the owners, it's these buyers who are actually applying for this stuff.
Yeah, but I was out there and the builder was there and he told me what they were doing. I mean, the one is, again, one of his super steep slopes going down the side. They want to put steps in so they can walk up and down without killing themselves. Seemed like a good idea to me. And then the fence, if you look at their picture, I walk back there and it is just the small area around the deck that is the only flat area they got, and then it just drops off. So to me, that's a safety issue, and it's nowhere near any of the edges or anything. So I personally, I'm in favor of both these things on a safety issue, if nothing else, because it's hazardous without the additions, to tell you the truth.
And they are planning on moving in this weekend.
And
Right.
I would like to know for open space, what the dimensions are gonna be. And I didn't like the color of those stone steps that they're showing. That's pretty
Well, it's
pale, but I guess they'll be the only ones seeing it.
yeah.
All right, I move to approve as submitted on 34 and 35 then.
We need to specify the height of the fence.
With comments.
Maximum 5 feet high. Gate to match fence, if they haven't said that.
Got it.
Yeah, match our appendix. Exactly. So we had a motion. Do we have a second?
Yep, I seconded.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I heard two. Is there opposed? Karen, abstain?
Yeah,
Okay, abstain. Passed 2-1. 2 to abstain. Okay, what is that? 2-0? Whatever.
All right.
Okay, Doe Court fence request.
The only note I had on this is a variance needed.
yeah, it looks like they were gonna fence right to their property lines.
Yeah, and nothing was marked out there, so
No. And the neighbor was very unhappy to hear that they were gonna go like an inch from her nice big leaf maple that she has there.
So maybe remind them of the setback for the fence
well,
and to mark it properly and to bring it to the next meeting.
yeah, I don't think we can do anything with it right now. We either deny or defer. Anybody want to make a motion?
A motion to deny, they need to relay it out.
I'll second that.
Okay, we had a motion for denial, and then they have to come back with it laid out.
Yeah, based on, the comments, yeah.
And pay attention to the setbacks.
Yeah, so
Yes.
all in favor, say aye. That's in favor of denial.
Aye.
Okay, that has passed. It has been denied. And Susie, you can forward the comments on so they know what to come back with.
Yes.
Great. 16 Bowline Court. What are we doing there? Extension and reapproval request. Okay.
I got approval with applicable fines,
Okay.
if there are any.
We got a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Okay, that's passed. Next.
Andy, I'm sorry. I thought we did 77.
I think we did too. That was covered. So was Green Hill.
Mhm. I think we're on to new business, which is Andy Glover.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
Yep, down to that.
Yeah, so we got the new applicant. Guys, I hope you got all his information I sent out to you. The only thing I had with him is he has no construction experience. And he balked a little bit at meeting on Thursday mornings. He wasn't opposed to necessarily the Thursday evenings, but the mornings seemed to be really going to be tough for him. But hey, we're really short staffed, and he's building a house here in Sudden Valley. It'll probably come up on our agenda in the next meeting or the one after that. He currently lives in Bellingham. He's owned his lot since September of last year, and he is in good standing with us. So he is, eligible to be on our committee if we should so decide.
So my concern on that is if he doesn't make the Thursday morning meetings, it's going to make it harder for us to make quorum.
I know that. But we've only had one other guy come up that I've talked to, and he never even called me back. So this is the only guy that's taken the time to even talk to me and go through everything. And the thing is, right now we are under a lot of time commitment, and I didn't even tell him the whole story yet. I just told him 2 Thursdays a month. So,
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Bruce's point is actually kind of a good one.
It is. But so you guys, you have to, think about that. And then we have to decide on that and make a vote. And then I got to go to the board with it. And then they got to, and I'm sure they'll just go along with whatever we come up with, whoever we come up with. But we just got to make sure it's the right fit.
So my question goes back to, in the past, procedure required us to have 2 to vote for and one person who was lost. Susie, did you ever find an answer to that?
I'm sorry, I was muted. No, I have not heard back yet about that, but I will find you an answer about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked Glenn to consult the lawyer if he would be willing to, and I don't know if he ever did. He did find out from the lawyer that our quorum is based on the number of seats that are filled.
Correct.
Not the 9.
Correct.
So I don't know where to go for this one.
You've seen I've missed a handful because just life's busy. Yeah. But to have another person that'll show up to even every other meeting is still better than not having another person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if he finds out it's too much for him, he can always resign, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I kind of like the eyes and the ears. It's always good to have 2 or 3 people look at the same situation, and everybody has a different idea, and all of a sudden someone's got a great idea. So it's kind of nice to have that perspective. Like I said, he was a little concerned about the Thursday morning. Sounds like he probably wouldn't make them. He's got kids. He works from home right now remotely. And, he was kind of shocked that we meet in the mornings, so I still agree. Chad's been a big help, and, so it's nice to have the extra people. So I don't know. I'll let you guys decide on it, or Bruce will.
Well, I don't know where to go until I know whether or not we can, it's even, if we're even allowed to vote on someone without having a second person.
Well, we can vote by email.
Yeah.
Because we're
yeah, you send me, you guys tell me what you think, send it to my email, and then the BOD email, and then I'll proceed with it to the board at our next meeting.
Because personally, I think we could use anybody that's willing to come and show up, because we don't need everybody with construction experience. Between Chad covering, letting us know what's makes sense with the construction, that helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and then Karen's engineering.
Karen digging through the plans so I don't have to. I'm out there looking at different stuff than you guys are, so.
Yeah.
A different.
Yeah, Karen's trying to get us to have residential housing plans that look like bridges. So,
No,
I-
that
I-
don't
mo-
destroy the
most
community.
of our most of those bridges had $2 to $8 million engineering budget. So
Yeah,
that
but-
makes your houses a little expensive.
But
So
Our
no,
site-
your comments are good. we just
our
sometimes we have to be
environmental
realistic
disasters.
of what
Yeah.
residential construction can do is all I'm saying.
Yeah. That's funny right there.
So on this particular one, let's punt it until Susie tells us if we are able to do it, and then let's do a email vote on it. When
Well-
do you have to know in order to take it forward for the next board?
The next Thursday. So let me know, send them out to me right away, and then I'll be back. I think Sunday or Monday we're going back. I'm in Newport Beach right now, California.
Okay.
So I'll be heading back like Monday, and then I'll gotta get it on the agenda, and then we'll take it to the board.
Sounds
and,
good.
And
So
yeah,
that's,
and all they're gonna go ahead. I'm sorry, Susie.
I think that's Bruce's question. When does it need to get on the agenda? Because Bruce doesn't want to vote until he knows that question.
That's why I
Yeah.
tell you, send it to me right away. So the second I get it, and it sounds like we're all in favor of it. Susie probably knows right now, and then we'll get it on the agenda.
Yes, and then if we want to add a meeting for Thursday morning, we can do that, guys. It's up to you. I would like to get you to vote on some language, and maybe it would be easier in a short meeting.
Okay, we can't do it we can't have him on the board on our committee Thursday morning because I got to go to the board first.
Okay, and I see, is it a scheduling issue? Okay, just let me
Yeah.
know when you would like it then.
It'll be our following meeting. So that'll be
Okay.
cool.
Sounds great.
Probably good just as well because he won't be able to attend it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, we might have been talking about two different things. I think Susie was talking about voting on language for for
Policy
something
change.
else, and everybody else was still talking about our new board member. So
No, we have both things. So yeah, so the new one's the policy change, and we got to be able to give people more time to build in the 90 days once we give them approval.
right, so how many are hanging? How many new constructions are hanging that we might want to try to catch for a quick meeting on Thursday?
I know that there are 12 left to
Yeah.
be presented this year.
Oh my God.
But they're not
Yeah.
going to be here. They're not going to all be here next Thursday. But there's still 12 left. So we want to be able to change the policy so we're not getting hammered like this like next year.
And so that they don't have to go through the weird reapproval process that starts so quickly.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I do think that it would be nice to have wording that ties a deadline to start but with the season. Is that
Yeah,
not our approval?
Yeah,
but
any
it's
approval
getting-
that happens after the watershed restrictions should basically just be good, through like 90 days after the watershed starts. So
Mhm.
basically after 90 days after June 1st, you have to be started because there's only 180 days that you have to, or less. I think
That's
I think
correct.
It's only 120 days that you have to start your work. So if you're not started within 90 days of the watershed, you're not going to make it and be ready for the winter to begin with. Right. So that's that should be how it's formed. Is then we can approve plans all the way through the season, and
Yeah.
that 90-day timeline doesn't start until June 1st of the following year.
Yeah. So it's like basically 6 months.
Essentially.
Maybe
Yeah.
Susie can just shoot us that wording in and we can kind of read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susie,
Can
are you
do.
working on that? So you're working on actually the language change?
I will do that. Sure. Why
Oh,
not?
well, we can do it too. I can do it or whatever, but
I don't know if they're planning on hiring a planner anymore, so
No.
I will make sure that I go ahead and just do this.
Just, yeah, I could say that's probably going to be out of the question now. So I really think that Karen is probably the best one to draft up the policy language and with Susie
Mhm.
and get that done so we can I got to present it to the board. And I think we should do that 6 months, or maybe it's a little longer than that, but it seems like 6 months would be applicable. to get us into the next time frame. So that way they're not all cramming in here to try to get in for 90 days. They got to start something, put up a silt fence, cut down a tree, or anything to try to start. We're giving them a reasonable time without having to
Yeah.
resubmit.
Yeah, Keith, I'll send an example of what I'm talking about. Because like, let's say, like I'm working on plans that I'm probably not going to submit until October, and we'll get
Yes.
them approved in November or whatever. If it's 6 months, then I don't meet the watershed deadline then, because the watershed deadline is June 1st.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'll send an example of what I'm talking about.
Good point. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that, Chad.
Yep.
So I'm still back to, are we having a meeting next Thursday morning?
Up
From what I
to you
understand from
guys.
Star,
Susie, what?
I
Susie,
think
did
I
you
can
say
make
you
it.
need one?
I would like to have one for my own selfish reasons, to get some language through, like I was talking about, that I'm worried about you guys getting through. Yeah, I would like to, but once again, you guys have personal lives, so if you can't, I totally understand.
Can we consult our significant others and get back by email?
Your magic
Or
eight
if
balls,
it's
yes.
if it's for language, can we just do it by email so that we can all read it, make notes, and then we can just have it, just say we're going to try to get our notes back to everybody by Thursday?
I think we have to vote on language in a meeting.
Okay.
The bylaws do say that we can individually as members accept a new committee member. But that's kind of the exception to what we have to do all our other business officially in meetings, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we can accept the new committee member, but the board has to ratify it, say, so they can tell us it's okay. So for whatever reason, but
Yeah,
it is
they have
what
to
it
do the
is.
same with policy changes. Is I
Yeah.
guess the way it's been. So we
Yeah.
made our policy change for the submittals. I don't know if that's been before the board. You know, where the ones I was proposing.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it went in, it did. It went in front of the board. It got approved.
Oh, okay, good. So, but this new one would also, I guess, have to do that. So,
We do, yeah, exactly. And also with the new committee members. So we got to go to the board or I'll go to the board and they'll say, yep, okay, great. I'm sure, I already told them, gosh, we need the people. I've already talked to them. So they know we're looking for people and I put this guy out there already. So hopefully there'll be just go for it. It was up to you guys to say yay or nay, and I appreciate it. The more the merrier.
as long as they show up. It's Zoom, so he should be able to show up from his house. Just, put tape over his kids' mouths.
That's actually an interesting thing you brought up. That is one of the discussions happening right now, is whether or not we're going to continue on Zoom or have in-person meetings.
Zoom's easier because I can get all the information and stuff in front of me. I got 3 screens running while we're doing this.
And see, I have 2 when I'm doing it, even though I know I'm inept. I have 2 monitors right now running, so I can run through. Not right now. Right now, you're on iPad, but at home I have 2 monitors. But that is something that's coming up right now. I just saw some emails this week about that, whether we're going to continue Zoom or have in-person meetings. I prefer to keep it Zoom. That's an expense though to SVCA, and so I'll have to talk to them about that. But I would like to keep it that way myself, and I think it's easier for everyone, especially the 6 o'clock meetings like this, instead of trying to meet at El Agave or in some room somewhere. I think it's better this way. So if that's what we want to do, I'll try to pitch that and keep this going via Zoom.
I think it's part of the reason that in the past we really didn't go that in depth into the plans, is because the only time we ever saw them was when they were plopped on the table in front of us and we were supposed to be able to go with it like that.
Yeah.
So much easier.
It is. And you can still go to the office to look at the plans if you need to. You can go there. They're right there. You can see the hard copies.
We'll still be getting them electronically ahead of time.
Correct. That's correct.
We just have to bring everything. We can't look at computer screens though.
Yeah, you guys will never see me if it's at in person all the time because, you know, I was able to feed my kids and put them to bed and all that stuff while we're doing this. So
So I'm
Well,
still back on the same question that I've never got answered there. Meeting next Thursday, yes or no? And I'm just a little selfish. I just soon see it because I'm not going to be available until August 18th after this.
Oh, you poor guy, Maui.
No. Family reunion back in Iowa and then Minnesota.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
My understanding is yes, we're meeting next Thursday.
Okay,
Let's do it.
let's do
All
it.
right.
So do we need a motion to adjourn or we got anything else left hanging, Susie?
We're good to go.
We're good. Anybody want to move to adjourn?
Move to
Adjourn by
adjourn.
acclamation?
Okay, it sounds like we're done.
Yeah.
all right.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Nice short
Thank-
meeting.
Yep.